Anybody out there? Thought I'd do a quick chat before I started my daily things to do. Let's party. I'm in front of like two giant windows, like 6 feet tall by 4 feet wide. And hey, how you doing there? How's it going there, Angie? You having a good day? Yeah, I was just happened to drink my coffee. I've been kind of reading in bed this morning before I start my day. I thought I'd come on here. I got my internet in my house now. I don't know if you heard, long story short, I go to a couple of Mexican restaurants around here, and there's a poor young girl who started crying, talking to me the other day where I go and eat all the time. And her mother was on a ventilator, and she was raised as probably a Baptist Christian. Her and her sister are alone with their mom. The mom had emergency brain surgery, went into a coma. And they think because of their, well, I don't want to say because of their, but I don't want to say as a consequence, but they think that the mother's trying to communicate with them to keep her alive, despite the neurosurgeon and the neurologist saying that's not what's going on. These are involuntary muscle contractions. So long story short, what I did is contacted people I knew, a couple doctors I know, a couple clergymen I knew, and gave her a summary of what they said. And basically, the gist of it was, look, go over this with the neurosurgeon and neurologist. There are parts of the brain when they're damaged, you can't do too much about it. And she's being kept alive by artificial means. And the clergyman told me that the way they handle that is they tell the people to end life support and let God take over from there. So good luck to her. Hey, salty girl, how you doing? Oh yeah, percolator's the way to go. Good. I've got one, but I'm not using it now, but I got this huge coffee cup that Angie noticed. It's good, Angie. You got enough guts to comment about the size of something. You women, you get a little weird on that. So thank you. Angie's eyes looked right at this coffee cup, and she said to herself, God, that's a big cup. That's good, Angie. So I don't want you lying to your old boyfriends or your new boyfriends about the size of the ones they were around before they met you. Tell the truth. There's no sense lying, starting off on the wrong foot. Hey, I'm having a drip coffee. Bigger is better. Absolutely, Melanie. Thank you, too. Hey, Mark. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got all the shelves lined with the history of pornography. I got a shit ton of more work to do. But I'm going to knock some out today slowly. If I had someone around here, it'd be done by now. You know how you clean up your house when people are coming over? You don't do it for yourself. Oh, thank you, Angie. Good. Boy, you're good. That good. That a girl. I love Angie. Angie's telling the truth, Mark. You ought to recruit her on your channel. Hey, Angie, do you go around? Do you go on lives very often? Have you ever been to Mark Kropka's pirate radio channel? Do you like music? Do you like it? Yeah. I think you'd like Angie over there, Mark. She's got a very good sense of humor. She tells the truth. And God, you can always use a bunch of those on a chat, couldn't you? Holy God. Over on Mark's channel, Angie, you can... he plays songs that you request, and he comments on them. He knows a lot about music. He's a musician. Yeah. He plays the keyboard. Yeah. He's been living with the same woman 36 years. Of course, he's just like the rest of us. He's trying to bang whatever he can get his hands on the side. That's why he got back into music. You've been a musician for several years. Wow. Hey, Mark, put a link to your channel so Angie can check it out. Angie's fit right in with just her witty, poignant comments. You passed the first litmus test, Angie. You're doing great. What kind? I don't want to ask. I know it's a loaded question, but if you don't mind me asking, Port Sanilac. Oh, interesting. I don't get up there very often. I'm in Georgia now. I don't get up to that area too much. Port Sanilac. Yeah, Mark's over there around London, Ontario, not too far. There's Mark's link right there. Now, the only thing I think's a little weird is usually on a link, you can, of course, I'm looking at this on StreamYard. Angie, are you watching this through StreamYard or YouTube probably, right? Can you click on that link? Mark's click on his link. See, maybe you could book Mark's band. Port Sanilac's not that far from London. Yeah, it's good. See how things come together? Oh, she's on YouTube. Oh, good. Do you upload videos too, Angie? Do you upload videos? Oh, Keurig. I don't like Keurig, to tell you the truth. Perk's better. Percolator's way better. Keurig's bullshit. Plus, I mean, you're supposed to care about the ozone and all that shit and plastic, but Keurig's one of the worst things you can use for the environment, which I don't give a fuck. I'll take a 55-gallon bag of garbage and throw it out on the highway right now. So don't take me wrong. But, when you're using a little plastic thing for everything, a cup of coffee, and I don't know if you know this or not, but it costs twice as much to recycle plastic as it does to make it new. That's one of the big problems. That's why when you go out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean and you see a dolphin with a Budweiser six-pack plastic ring around his snout that he can't get off, that's why. It's easier to throw it away and be a bad person than it is to recycle it and be a good lesbian in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Oh, not for you. That's okay. No, Keurig sucks. Here's another problem with these pussy coffee makers is the fucking coffee's not hot enough. You're supposed to serve coffee around 202, 204. Now, you don't want to spill it on you then, but hey, how many times do you spill coffee on you? And believe me, when you know it's close to boiling, you're going to be much more careful. Oh, back when I would perform? Oh, you performed. I opened for Uncle Cracker back in the day. No kidding. He hangs around, or did hang around Traverse City for a while. He had some connection to Kid Rock. Oh, you had your heyday. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, perform. Now, what kind of performing did you do, if you don't mind me asking, Angie? Yeah, Perk is way better, way better. And let me tell you another thing too about coffee. Now, I was into it at one time, but I'm not really into it that much now. But the coffee bean is a very finicky bean. It's really kind of fragile, believe it or not. And just because you get a bean from a certain place in certain conditions, it's very touchy. Humidity, temperature, transported, dry, too much moisture, blah, blah, blah. So there's always chances it's not going to taste the same. But I will get you some really good coffee. I mean, like super expensive stuff, and you're going to think that's bullshit. I'll send it to you, and I want you to just make a few pots of it, and you're going to notice the difference. There is coffee out there, and it almost seems like my little amateur experiment. When it's in the store and there's a million choices to pick from, even a lesbian health market, that's not the good coffee, believe it or not. And grinding your beans, how you store them, all that shit. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? There's a lot to it, is my point. Now, who wants to go through all this bullshit to make a cup of coffee? I know, me either. But once in a while, it's kind of nice to appreciate like good steak, dry-aged prime steak, finished off with corn. Do not eat this grass-fed horse shit. Well, play the guitar, sing, did an album. Wow, never got anywhere, but that's quite an accomplishment. I've accomplished a few things. I've amassed a huge porn collection. I did graduate from college, and I got a pilot's license. I screwed the whole house where my wife lived when I was dating her. So it's not like I haven't met that top shelf. But I'll tell you, there was a short time in my life where I made just like tons of money. And I had a good-looking buddy of mine that modeled full-time. Actually, he won the second episode of Fear Factor. And we hung around for 5 years. We both had money. He had it from modeling. They give you $3,000 for a day. Milan, Italy, New York, Miami. All his was in Chicago. And all the women wanted to bang him. So we'd travel around all the time. We'd go to Tunica, Mississippi. He liked playing Texas Hold'em. And I thought I'd learn to play the guitar, and I bought like 5 Stratocasters, new ones at different music shops down around Memphis. And I tried. I think I had the bad, not that great at people to teach me. One was a heroin addict. I didn't figure it out till later. All he ate was Spam and beans. And I just could not do the guitar. And as it turns out, I'll give you another example of this. I know smart people that went to the University of Michigan, but they could not pass the introductory language course. They could not pass beginning French, beginning Spanish, nothing. And they had to transfer to graduate. So, you know, some people are good at math. Some people are good at music. I learned, I don't know what the hell I'm good at yet. I just learned that I just don't think I have the right brain for learning how to play a guitar. It's like you could have handed it to a monkey and he'd do a better job. Anthony, how you doing today? Oh, Bay City. Oh, okay. That must be for Patty because Ted started work today, didn't he? Oh, good. Let me know where you eat, okay? Let me know where you eat. Yeah, good at nothing. No, but you're a female. You're a female, Salty, and there's always a way around that. I mean, you could give the best blowjobs in Port Pierce as an example. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. Of course, you don't want to get a hat or an embroidered shirt that says that, but you know what I mean? You could get a lot of fun attention. Yeah, learning how to play the guitar, man. I tried. Oh, he starts tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, learning how to play the guitar is a bitch. I just couldn't do it. So hats off to you, Angie. Don't discount yourself. No, I tried everything. It was embarrassing. I mean, I just couldn't do it, man. I mean, after a year, it was like twang, twang. I just wanted to fuck with the whammy pedal in the bar. Now, my favorite guitar players, do you like rock, don't you, Angie? Is George Lynch from Dokken and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. I mean, god damn, it's just unbelievable. You know, George Lynch, man, I'll tell you, you know, I'm embarrassed to say this. Well, I shouldn't be embarrassed because I got nothing to lose at this point. Classic rock. But, you know, I mean, I like some heavy metal, but I don't know that I ever would go to a concert. I mean, I just don't like it that much. I like some blues. I don't think I want to listen to it for 2 hours. But, you know, I didn't even know about Dokken until about a month ago. You know, I think I got a man crush on George Lynch. I just, you know, sometimes you meet guys and you wonder what their lives were like. And he's a good looking son of a bitch, man. If you look at, I'll give you an example. Look at a couple of videos that he put on YouTube when he plays with Dokken. That's Dokken, Mr. Scary. I mean, the guy looks like a young Harrison Ford. He's a good looking guy. And he's 70 now and he's still a good looking guy and he shreds it. And I just can't imagine a guy like that, all the women he had access to. Now, I know at this age, it's like, why are you still talking about women? I think I'm listening to a high school kid. Well, I mean, you still kind of like them, you know? And I always wonder, now, I also am aware of be careful what you wish for. Now, I know he's been divorced, and I don't know what the deal is with the guy now. But be careful what you wish for is right. Things are different now than they used to be. Classic rock. You know, I met Bob Seger as a kid, 1972. He was living next door to a guy I know that went to Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan. He said, hey, this guy next door, he's like, you know, really coming up as a rock star. I want to go meet him. It's like, yeah, we went over there. You know what? I was just a young guy, like 14, maybe 13. And I can remember when I met him, I thought, man, what a kick-ass head of hair he has. Like those guys from Alabama. I ran into them one time at a fair someplace. The Alabama guys. Oh, did you? Yeah, I just never really cared for Bob Seger's songs, to tell you the truth. He's a super cool guy. He would stop at a restaurant. You know, he had a place up in Mackinac Island, and I would see him occasionally in the Big Boy. Nice guy. Okay, Salty Girl, you party on. Oh, round the cattle, man. Be kind to him now. Hug him. Pretend you're a lesbian from Ann Arbor. Rock them to sleep. Don't butcher any of them, and don't violate their rights. Okay? Oh, you think so? Heck of a song. Yeah, that's the real gift, isn't it, songwriter? You got that right. That separates the people that play in a bar the rest of their life. Nothing wrong with that from the people that really kick ass. But, man, I mean, and I wouldn't, and I loved Alice in Chains. I loved Lane Staley. I loved them. Have a good day, Salty Girl. Don't be embarrassed about giving the best head in Fort Pierce. It's something to be proud of. Just try and keep it on the down low. Yeah, it's just, songwriting is interesting. Now you're going to laugh. I lay it all on the line, even my bad points and good points. I tell people all the time, I brag about you're never going to catch me lying. You're never going to catch me changing my story. Is it worth anything? Probably not. But another big fan, Rupert Holmes, uh, David Goldstein, who wrote the song Hymn and Pina Colada Song. Pina Colada is the name of it. Escape is the name of it, actually. He's another smart Jew that, of course, is a playwright now after he got out of music. But if you look at the song Hymn, you'll see when they toured Japan one time, he had a guitar player that opened up Hymn, and to me, I just love it. It's kind of bubblegum music, but boy, I listen to it all the time. I bet I listened to it 10 times yesterday. I love Jews. I got my favorite Jew up in North Carolina, Jabo. We're like this. That's right. And songwriting's a real talent. Harry Chapin, Janice Ian, God, 17. What more do you want? Harry Chapin, Taxi, come on. But back to George Lynch. That heavy metal, man, you really kind of paint yourself into a corner with heavy metal. It's such a small market. I mean, do you go into things because you love it, or you go into them because you want to make a lot of money? If he loved it, well, he did the right thing. If he wanted to make a lot of money, he made a lot of money, but not like something that appeals to mass markets in different countries like Led Zeppelin. Holy shit. That's crazy. I mean, you go over to the UK, you got 10,000 blondes with blue eyes wanting to meet you. You fly over to Australia, same shit. Circle back to the United States. You're just fucking banking it, man. Crazy. But the real money, I'm talking about the crazy money that you don't hear about. Guys like Michael Jackson. He said what a bunch of rip-off those record companies are. I bet that's true, too. They're always getting sued by their bands. You make 1 million, they make 10 million. Now, is there anything wrong with that? I don't know. But, this internet age, social media, direct uploads, it's killed the movie market, and it's changed the music industry. You can look at Justin Bieber, who I'm happy for, Bieber, whatever his fucking name is. He's suffering from male pattern baldness. Some kid that was that good looking, that young, he had to pay the piper some kind of way. At least he's alive. Oh, I see about 20 vultures out there circling. Turkey vultures they're communicating to me. I love those things. Yeah. But music's interesting. So now this is going to sound weird. Now I can look it up on my phone, but isn't Port Sanilac up in the thumb? Booking bands. I'd love to let them play all their own. No, absolutely right. Thank you. Bingo. See, Mark? I know. I want to get out of shotgun when if you're having a good time, you met somebody new, you're drunk, and then they say we're going to play originals. I just want to go up there and attack them with a baseball bat. Thank you, Angie. I don't want to hear any fucking originals anywhere from anybody. And I don't like it when they sing the song different than I heard it on the radio either. You can skip that too. Hear that, Mark? Take note from somebody that books bands. None of that original shit when you're getting paid, please. She's here to help. YouTube's fucking with me big time. You know what they've been doing? Now they're giving me warnings for copyrighted music that I bought. Every single video that I upload. I just did that one to the moon last night. I got like 5 songs on that. I think it's 4 clips of songs, 4 minutes long or something. They said copyright on every song that I paid for. So I have to fill out every one of those things independently, even though I'm not monetized, and appeal it. They're pissing me off big time. I think they want to get rid of me. Yeah, get some steak. Salty could do that. She could do that. Better believe she could. She's got connections to a big cattle ranch down there. But that's right, Angie. Yeah, hard to book bands. Now, Port Sanilac. Now, I think that's in the thumb, but let me look. That whole booking bands, yeah, want to play their own music. Fuck that. No. Just tell them no as politely as you can. Yeah, Port Sanilac. Yep, that's where I thought it was, right around there. Mark, she's right across the pond from you. Port Sanilac. I get over there once in a while, Lexington. Do you go to the cheeseburger festival, Angie? Yeah, but Angie, yeah, you're probably right on that. Way worse. Yeah, they're fuckers for sure. You know, if that damn Facebook finds out you're a Republican, they will fuck with you and cancel your Facebook marketplace. I mean, that's just bullshit. I mean, they can do what they want. It's their platform. But they do. If they find out that you're a Republican or you're a Trumpster, they will fuck with your membership. Yeah, the way I look at it, I just lay it on the line, man. Fuck it. People don't like how I vote. Oh, the cheeseburgers. Oh, Fester. I've been to that a couple times. That's cool. Are you from there, Angie? Actually, I had a neighbor. Her sister's like the third in command pilot for John Deere. They're both from up around that area, Port Sanilac. The sister's a pilot for John Deere, and my neighbor was a hospital administrator. Crazy thing, they both look like lesbians, and they're not. And they both had kids. Maybe that's why. So weird. You know, the butch haircut. You'd swear to God they were lesbians, and they're not. I don't understand that. I don't think they're out sneaking out, eating their girlfriends out. It's just always kind of in the back of my mind was weird. Your life. They got a lot of weird shit. You know, what's that guy Huron County over there? He's got a helicopter. He lives over around there. Really nice guy. Flies a helicopter. He's a sheriff over there, I think, Huron County. You know who I'm talking about? I don't know if he's the sheriff over there or not still. I think it's Huron County. He's been there forever. Is it Kelly something? Oh, okay. Huron County, Michigan. No, is that it or not? Hold on. Huron County, Michigan. Yeah, I think it is. Sheriff. I want to say Kelly Hansen or something. You know who I'm talking about? Oh, 45? Okay. Huron County, Michigan Sheriff. What is that guy's name? Sheriff's Office. Yeah, Kelly Hansen. Yeah, hell of a nice guy. He has his own helicopter. He does things on the side. Kelly Hansen, yeah. They got a lot of weird shit happening in those places, though. Like crazy murders, that kind of thing. Don't you get bored out of your mind living there? Yeah, I would be. So I'm assuming, and I don't know if this is true, that you're just booking bands during the summer, right? There's nothing going on up there in the winter, is it? Is there? Yeah, they're fuckers, man. I could prove it. Oh, they brag about it, Mark. It's not hard to prove. They do it. They're open about it. And then you find out that Zuckerberg is down at Mar-a-Lago the other day. He donated $400 million to keep Trump from getting elected. Not this time, but the time before. Leave it to a slippery Jew to get down there and make up. Jeff Bezos is backpedaling too. He's down there sucking fucking ass. I mean, Donald Trump has enough balls to, he's a vindictive son of a bitch too. So am I, so we get along. Hey Shane, how you doing? I'm like that too. I'm mad at people from 40 years ago. And if I ever get a chance to fuck them, I'm gonna. I told my Jewish psychiatrist that too, and I don't want to hear any bullshit about it. I'm paying you, Jew boy. You don't get bored, plenty to do. Alley Bar is an outside bar in the summer. We still have an inside bar. The owner believes in. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I certainly support it. Hang on while I fill my last cup of coffee up. Oh, that's cool. Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett sucks. He's dead now. Merkel cell. Jimmy Buffett died from Merkel cell cancer. Oh yeah, he did. Poor guy. Seemed like a decent guy. Jimmy Buffett. Be careful for skin cancer being out there around the water in the summer, Angie. I've had it a bunch of times. I've had a bunch of skin cancer. I never had those, which is why I'm still talking to you. Merkel cell. It's an oval-shaped cell just under the top layer of skin. that senses heat and light. And up until about 10 years ago, that was misdiagnosed a lot. And I don't know if that was part of his problem or not. But what happens, the big thing with cancer is you get to the point where you don't respond to treatment any longer. Do I feel about how bad Maddie has gotten? Well, bless Mom. No, I don't. I feel it's unfortunate. I think Maddie's a addicted prostitute. Maddie's a sweet person. You'll never hear me say anything bad about her, Gerald. And I see her waving the religious flag, and I can't help but wonder if you really have Maddie's best interest in mind, or you're one of these people that want to go on there and talk about what she looks like all the time and how bad she's looked compared to a few years ago. It's a sad, unfortunate situation that I did in a small way, whatever I could, which was basically nothing. Yeah, she's a sweet, sweet person. Maddie's a sweetheart. This is what happens. Drugs, man, they're terrible. You wait till this new drug czar gets in. He said he's going to treat these Mexican drug lords as terrorists and smoke them right on the fucking border with Gatling guns. Absolutely right. Amen. Oh, right till February. Oh, I'd like to come up there sometime, Andy. I'm going to come up there next time I come to Michigan. Oh, that's good. That's a good idea. Yeah, me too. Yeah, wear sunscreen. I don't do it as much as I should. I try to, but fuck it. It's not like it's going to ruin my modeling career. And I'm right around the corner from having fucked up skin anyway. Oh, thank you. Whether I protect it or whether I don't. I got absolutely broiled as a kid. Hey, Sue, how you doing? She's a sweet girl. Yeah, she is, Sue. The shit she listens to and doesn't snap on these people. Yeah. She really is. Yeah, that sucks so bad. And, I've talked to people that knew her in high school. And bless Mom, you got any opinion on that, or are you just on the bandwagon on Trash and Maddie? And if you look at Sue, you look at the comments that people make about her. It's just the good thing about YouTube is you realize what people are like. Oh, they're absolutely terrible. To me, I've been around, right? I can't think, other than, terminal cancer or something like that. I can't think of a word. Sometimes death in the circle of life makes sense. I think if I was in chronic pain and old and wasn't going to get better, I'd want to die. I'd be looking forward to it. So if you look at the circle of life, you're going to die anyway. And you see people like Maddie, and it's like, God, man, I think about this a lot. I can't get myself to watch her. It's rude and childish. That's right. I'll tune in once in a while. And I'll tell you this, I am going to send Maddie a Christmas gift. And I don't give a fuck what she does with the money. So go report that to YouTube. What do you think? She's going to go out and join fucking Planet Fitness? It's none of anybody's business what she does with the money. And I'm going to give her a Christmas present, her and Gerald both. Would I like her to go out and buy toothpaste? I would. Or whatever soap, I would. Is she going to do that? Probably not. Is that enabling? It is not. I don't think it is. And besides, it's none of anybody's business. When I give anybody money, I don't give it with strings attached. It's like, well, make sure you don't do this. I'm not bragging, but I think it was part of how I got to be on a civil relationship with these women. They knew I wasn't going to fuck them with some bullshit. It's like, after the curtain fell, I'm the same guy I was when I went down there. Oh, I was really rooting for her. Oh, okay, that's good, because that's why I asked. You never know. It is unfortunate. But, yeah, what I was going to say, though, I can't think of a worse life after all these years of living as being a drug-addicted prostitute. God damn it, man. That just cuts through everything. You get out there, sex is supposedly for enjoyment. And, love and all that other bullshit they sell it as, the good part, You want it. It's great. You seek it out. You'll enjoy it. Sexual acts aren't inherently for making money. And when you get into that position and you get to the point, her father spent a lot of money on her teeth as a kid in high school. And when you just see that and you think of that and there's nothing you can do, it'd be kind of like you seeing a couple toddlers in a rubber raft 2 miles before they went over the Niagara Falls and nobody was around to save them. It's that kind of feeling. It sucks, man. I mean, I do go on and once in a while and listen to her for a few minutes, but man, it'll just circle back like to negative thinking. I see her and I get thinking about it. It's like I just click off the fucking thing. I mean, I don't even subscribe to her channel because I don't want notices. Certain things that are hurtful, you block out. I mean, I wish I could do it with more things. But they really bother you. You're having a good day and you'll think about something that really bothered you. And it's with all those girls, to tell you the truth. And I just that's why I quit doing it, really. I mean, it was more, not just that, but it was a factor in not doing it. You're just down there, fucking got hepatitis, fucking herpes and syphilis, and fucking they're HIV positive, their teeth are falling out, their skin sucks, there's no nutrition, they're just having sex at $10 a pop with these fucking pigs. A lot of those girls, there's a high percentage of their stuff where they get hit and beat and shit, peed on, stuff like that. Call the police. It's so bad that a prostitute can call the police. Raven, it's like sad feeling. Becky, I mean, God damn it, man. It's like shit. And all those girls, Sweet Pea. And you know what? If I went back there, it'd be the same stuff. It'd be just another dose of the same. So before you get down there, I mean, I really enjoyed that, man, at the height of it. Just down there innocently. Those damn videos were around forever. Nobody watched them. Some kid pasted them on Reddit where it kind of took off. And I hope I never have another viral video, to tell you the truth. I think it's a pain in the fucking ass. People get jealous and fuck with you and fuck with the girls you interviewed. And just a bunch of bad everything, man. Just for what? For what's the sense of it all? Just go back there. And that's why, I mean, I do keep in touch with them from time to time. Dr. Phil's producer tried to get me to bring Maddie and Gerald out there. It's like, fuck that. And during the conversation with her, the lady told me, who I liked, who's from Michigan, not that has anything to do with anything. And she told me they don't send those people to rehab anymore. I thought to myself, fuck this. And you never know if that Dr. Phil cocksucker, I don't like him anyway. He'd probably get out there in the middle of a fucking show after, bullshitting everybody and say, that how would I address the rumors of, having sex with these girls? That's how I met him. I think I'd kick that motherfucker's ass on camera. They'd need 20 fucking security guards to keep me from going nuts on that lunatic. So I wasn't going to allow that to happen. But I didn't think it was my decision on whether or not Maddie and Gerald wanted to do. And I put them in touch with that thing. If they wanted to send them out, pay them. It's Los Angeles. Go ahead and go, but I don't want any part of it. I thought it was just going to be like he did to Shelley Duvall. That guy's a cocksucker, man. Dr. Phil. He fucking stalked goddamn, who's that cute? Britney Spears, too. And she's not a good person. And he got his license taken away as a psychologist, too, for sleeping with fucking people he was treating. Yeah, real shitbag. I wouldn't listen to that stupid motherfucker for anything. Any information. Nothing. Gerald's been in jail. God, that is so sad. What is he in jail for, do you know? God, that is so damn sad. And I got sucked into the same thing everybody does when you deal with people down there, and that is, you would think. I'll give you an example. So it's fucking, 10 below zero down there. And you think, well, I'll get him a nice room in a hotel. And then you do that. And then all they do is sublease the thing for ordinance violations. Now, How would there be an ordinance violation with someone that didn't have a home? What would it be? Like loitering, maybe? Because, Detroit's got a problem with that anyway. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they don't really have room. 85% of the people that, or at least this is old news now, maybe 8 or 10 years old, 85% of the people in Detroit that live there, I'm talking about registered residents, do not have any auto insurance. Why? Because it's too expensive. Nobody wants to write insurance there. And the police have been just told that when you pull people over, now where I lived in that little rural town of West Branch, you pull somebody over up there and they don't have insurance, you're towing your car and you're going to jail. That's because there's, what are you going to get, 10 people a day? Down there, you'd have 10,000 a day. So if you violate in a big enough numbers, they don't do shit. They don't have room. And that's the issue in Detroit. You don't happen to know what jail Jared's in or anything, do you? I know you can send those guys like money and stuff like that. And Maddie is by herself out there. Are you sure of this? This is fucking sad, man. God damn it. In the same place? Ordinance violations. I mean, this is like a double whammy. That's like a double whammy. I mean, you can say what you want, and I know it's a dysfunctional relationship, but I mean, she's better with him than without him. I mean, I don't know whether it's racism or they think he's a gigolo or what, but Gerald's a nice guy, drug addict too. But this isn't like him holding a shotgun to her head and forcing her to go out and do blowjobs and giving him the money. It's not that at all. At least it wasn't when I knew him. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So ordinance violations, were they like, was that what they were about? Like loitering? There's some real fuckers out there, I'm telling you. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, but back to the thing. So you get them a room, that kind of thing. Now here's the deal. Here's the $50,000 question. You will go through this if you do those kind of things, or if you're down there. And that is, let's say you knew a prostitute and you knew she was down there. Now, 8 years ago, they were giving blowjobs for $10. I know, hey, Jeannie, when you ask him and I interview them, they say they get $100. That's, I would too. I mean, if you're a prostitute, would you rather be given blowjobs for $100 or $10? It doesn't even need to be real. I mean, when you say you're getting $100, that's more than someone's getting typing or word processing in an office. When you say you're getting 10, that's a whole nother level of low. And they tend to seem to exaggerate. I mean, I've had them tell me they get $1,000 and I didn't believe it. I wasn't going to make a big deal about it. But nobody really feels comfortable talking about giving blowjobs for $10. You know what I mean? So let's take for an example, somebody down there. Let's give them blowjobs for $10. Thank you, Jeannie. Does this make sense to you? I want you to answer me honestly about this. And I knew somebody down there, and it was 10 below zero. They get cold like that once in a while, although not so much in the last 6 years. And my thinking would be, okay, well, 10 blowjobs, that's $100. And this is irregardless of what they spend it on, okay? And I think, well, that's going to at least keep them from going out with these scummy guys 10 times, okay? Is it wrong to give them $100, even though they're going to do with the money what they would have done anyway if they didn't get it from you? And it is going to keep them home for that one night. Do you think that's enabling? Do you think it's a bad thing to do? A good thing to do? It's both good and bad? Yeah, probably right, Jim. Would you feel bad if you gave Maddie $100? You can't rely on these troublemakers. That's what I think, Melanie. That's what I think. I don't say everything I do on YouTube because, they'd slaughter me and, they'd I've had people go to great lengths trying to get me kicked off here. And if I told them everything, all they do is they'd get a screen recorder. They'd say, look what this guy just said. And he says he's not enabling. And they'd listen to it. It's like, yeah, that's right. This guy, he's sending them money and he knows what they're going to spend it on. And we don't want him doing this. So let's fuck him good. YouTube was great at one time. It's still great because we're on here talking and I'm appreciative of that. And if it was just vanilla and I could just come up here, I don't monetize anything anymore. It's not worth putting my head on the chopping block. But they've been really hassling me lately. They don't put notices out. They fuck with everything. Now their latest thing is nailing me for copyrighted songs, even though I purchased them. And even when they send me the copyright violation, it says right in the fucking thing where I bought it, Epidemic Sound. It's a paid for subscription service. And I've got to peel them all. Like the one bullshit one, last night, I love the moon and sunrises. I'll do every one I can till the day I die. It's different every time. Last night, clouds, full moon, missed it. But it's going to be good tonight. I think 96%, hopefully, although it's cloudy now. And I turned my cameras on anyway, just hoping I get a glimpse of the moon. And I did. I'm happy. Now, if you're not into that, this is like a 3-minute, 56-second video. If you're not into that, you're going to think, this sucks, man. What is this? I just saw a light flickering. Yeah. I upload things that interest me and I enjoy. 99.9% of my videos nobody watches, which I'm fine with. And that's why I felt that I owed something to, how you doing, Julian? Why haven't you been here for years? Hey, Callie. I do it because I enjoy it. I do. I pray every night to the power of porn, Johnny Holmes and C.J. Lang and Linda Lovelace. I pray that Elon Musk starts another social media platform just like YouTube. I like that guy. Did Maddie stand? Yes. Yeah, he did. No, he did. He did, yeah. I shouldn't say this, but I'm not going to say it. That whole dynamic of that family, I'm putting this as polite as I can, is like Honey Boo Boo. That kind of dysfunction. Blue collar, welders, not that there's anything wrong with that. Factory workers, beer drinking, smoking, high cholesterol, double pizzas for $10.99. She came from an environment like that. I grew up not far from where she grew up. I don't want to say white trash, but you know what I'm getting at. I came from white trash. Just ignorant, fucking stupid people that I could not wait to get the hell away from my parents. No, I wish I did, Angie. If you ever see one, let me know. They get more for Astro vans now with 150,000 miles that are 20 years old than I paid brand new for those. I bought two at once in 2003. I love one. I look all the time, but it's finally gotten to the point now where the last year they made those was 2005. And they get too much money. They get terrible gas mileage. I'd love one. I've looked for tricked out ones that have been customized, but the problem, if you spend $30,000 on one of those, you still can't insure it for what it's worth. If you do, you go through one of these specialty underwriters and you're only supposed to drive it to and from car shows. So no, I don't. I have an F-150 Ford pickup. Yeah. I absolutely love my Astro van. It's like a lot of things in life. Relationships, jobs, where you lived, houses, kind of vehicles you drove. You just did it because you needed a vehicle at the time. That was all-wheel drive. God, just a beast in the snow. I got dedicated winter tires. Great, man. Do you travel? Do you ever go down south or anything, Angie? Do you ever get out and go on a vacation? Yeah, Maddie's not doing too good health-wise, that's for sure. I miss the Astro van too. That was a good time, man. I love the Astro van. Had so much fun in it. I put over 400,000 miles on two of them. Yep, sure did. Yeah, no, it was a great vehicle. It was a great vehicle, man. Loved it. And I would get one if I found it. I see them, but they're, now we're looking at 19 years old at the newest ones. And if you let's say you find one with 20,000 miles on it, good shape, all-wheel drive, they're going to want fucking 19,000 for it. And it just doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, if you lived where there was a lot of snow and you only went to the store and back, now we're talking, because there's really nothing that competes with it. There isn't, Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, Jeannie. You're great. It's the all-time 4.3 liter. Really, I feel like getting a picture of that engine. Look it up. It's the best engine that was ever made. They put it in all sorts of things for years. Then they quit making. Now you couldn't, there were a bunch of people got together. Actually, believe it or not, they raised a bunch of money and they paid some automotive engineer to come up with a mock drawing of a new Astro van. Well, now you couldn't make one like that, because the gas mileage and how much gas it burned and how heavy it was and all that shit. That's why everything out there now is just a plastic piece of junk that's overpriced with computers. And, you're not taking it to the guy next door to work on it in his garage anymore because it doesn't have a $500,000 analyzer. They don't want you doing anything, these cars anymore, changing headlights. They're getting to where they don't want you changing oil either. The transmissions are sealed. You can't tell me there's a transmission fluid out there that you can go 400,000 miles on without changing. Well, if it's sealed, that's what you're going to have to do. So what do you get out of it? 250, maybe? Just, everything's upside down now. I was young during the 70s and 80s, and I'm glad that I was. Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I gave him those new tires. Yeah, I got rid of it. Yeah, I scrapped that Astro van. He was a nice guy. Good guy. It's funny on tires, man. If you can find them used and they fit your vehicle, do it. Used tires are hard to sell, no matter what they are. And new tires are expensive. I mean, even on my pickup now, if I go out, I'm going to get rid of that pickup because I just turned 300,000 miles. If I go out and get the tires that I normally would get, the good ones, down here, because the weather's different, right? It's still about $1,500. That's one of the reasons why I'm not in Michigan right now, because I need new tires, and I don't want to get tires that are usable in winter weather for one trip to Michigan on a vehicle I'm going to drive back here and get rid of. That's one of the reasons I'm not up there. If I got caught up there with all-season tires, I'm fucked, even if it's a half inch of snow. Yeah, plastic junk. The only thing they do is get better gas mileage. That's it, which is good. I actually looked at, believe it or not, I actually looked at the new Toyota, fuck are those? What's those ones the lesbians drive all the time? Toyota, they're a lot better looking now. You can get 56 miles a gallon now. It's the battery thing. And Marty had his fuel pump was making metal in one of his F-250s, and he got a loaner that was a hybrid electric, some Ford thing. It was a piece of junk, but it got like 44 miles a gallon, man. It's like, oh, what's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you, when you rack up the miles like I do, like I just turned 61,000 on that pickup truck, and I got it 2 years ago this March. I put a lot of miles on vehicles. So if you look at, I get about 400 miles a tank. So you do the math on that. And if I could get like 1,200 miles on a tank, Prius, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Prius. I thought about getting one of those. I know I'd hate it already, but it's kind of exciting to like. It cost me 2.5 tanks of gas to go to Michigan from here. So that's like $200. Not that big a deal, but it's like $58 in a Prius. But, there's no room in them. But I haul around a lot of shit that I don't need to anyway. I can't even fit my Doka pole in a Prius, I don't think. I had a friend that's a lawyer. How's his son doing? You talking about the guy that wrote for the Free Press? T-shirt and hat? No, what are you talking? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Jocks. I'll be glad to answer the question, but Oh, same people. Yeah, they do. They do. Actually, you're right about that. I noticed as I've gotten older now too, like I take these monster trips. Like it's nothing. If you told me I did it last year, it's like Marty, my buddy that got me to come down here. He wanted me to go out and look at some petrified wood collection, which I did in Holbrook, Arizona. I drove straight through 24 hours, took a couple cat naps. But I found now, hotels, even if you get nicer ones, like if you stay at a Hilton, which I don't like to do. See, up until lately, like Marty has my dog most of the time. He's kind of his dog. She loves him. They get along. I mean, I do stuff with her, but I don't have a dog with me, which allows me to stay in different places now. It's a pain in the ass. But even in nicer hotels like Hilton's and shit like that, which I may stay at rather than drive my ass off for one that allows pets, the fucking internet sucks. So the whole idea in the internet now is when I'm doing my movies is I pull over, I get there at 6, I go get dinner, I upload all my videos of the day, and I start over. Fuck, it takes forever when you do all the kind of video I do. So all of a sudden it got now, I'd rather be on the road than at a hotel at 6. You can plan on about 54 miles an hour, even if you're dogging it. So I'd rather be 200 miles down the road than fucking around a hotel with a slow internet connection. So when somebody tells me you can sleep in a vehicle, that sounds good to me. It's not the best sleep, Oh, t-shirt and hat. Yeah, I'm always wearing stuff like this. A little cold down here. Oh, is that what you're wondering? Yeah. I met his son in a restaurant once. Who the hell would that be? His son in a restaurant. I don't know who that would be. Yeah, I always wear a t-shirt and hat like this. Like today, I'm going to work out. I'll lift weights for an hour. Then I'll walk like 6.2 miles. Yeah, people live in it. I don't know if I could live in it, but I don't, and hotels are expensive now. I'm not going to do that to a dog, just have him in the car all the time. I do it to myself, but not a dog. And, you can plan. I'll tell you another thing too. When you travel in the summer, it's hard to get hotels. They're fucking filled up along the interstate. It's just a pain in the fucking ass. Plus, it's like $130. Not that I'm cheap or anything, but it's just, and I when I was young, I never thought of not young, up until a couple of years ago, I never thought of these things. But now I go in these hotels and I just start thinking of crazy shit, like how many times people fucked on this bed where my face is going to be on the pillow. Never used to bother me, and I wouldn't even say it bothers me now, but it's not like a good thought. Even if you change the sheets and shit, God damn. I mean, they could have had like intercourse on that mattress 2,000 times. Ugh. Oh, thank you, Callie. Oh, must have been the lighting. Now I'm on a big weightlifting kick now. I did that my whole life. And it's really kind of good to be back into that. Feeling a lot stronger. As it turns out, if you did that your whole life, you can come back pretty good. But if you're like this age and just started, you're never really going to. And honestly, I know this sounds stupid. I'll probably tear my rotator cuff or get a hernia or something, but I just can't do weightlifting just to like be able to get a can of soup off the top shelf. Fuck that. If I'm not getting stronger or coming back some, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to fuck with it. Oh, okay, Shane. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying lifting weights, and it's fun. I'm getting something done. Then I walk like 6.2 miles, fast as I can too, which turns out not to be that fast. Although I can only walk so damn fast. Not like that lesbian fitness queen walk, where it's like super fast, but a fast walk. And it's getting to where I'm not tired at the end of that anymore. So I'm going to have to like start doing something different, put a weight in a backpack or something like that. But it takes me 2 hours. I don't know what I'm doing it for. I'm hoping to jack off longer in a year from now. I lost a lot of weight, but that all started with the wrong blood pressure medication. I got the same size waist I had as a senior in high school. No shit. I only weighed, the most I ever weighed weightlifting I mean, in shape. Now I've weighed this much in shape and out of shape was 246. I'm 5'10". And my goal here is to get down. I want to get down as strong as now my thinking now is, it's old man lifting. I know that. I want to get as strong as I can with the lowest possible weight. My goal is getting down to like 197 or so. That's what I'm trying. Yeah, powerlifting. It sounds like it is, but I don't really like doing it that much. But I hate like treadmills and bikes. I think I'm gonna go with weights and a backpack. I'd rather off get my heart rate up in a shorter distance that was much more harder. It's 2 hours is a long time to blow on that, although it is out in Mother Nature and I'm looking at shit and I'm stepping on red ant hills as I go. I've got a war against those fucking things, man. I spend about $150 a month on spray, killing these fucking fire ants. They're not supposed to be here. They're not indigenous. What really the impetus in wanting to do this is I see them stinging kids all the time, little kids. They'll burrow and start a mound anywhere next to a playpen or a sandbox or a bike that's been parked out in the yard. And I don't like them anyway. And then when I saw that, I thought, man, I'm going to really get rid of these as good as I can. And if you're around here, people, I say, the guys that installed the cable, it's like, yeah, look around. You see any fire ants? Like, no, what are you doing? It's like I fuck with them every day. That's what I'm doing. I do. I take off. I don't count those as part of my walk. I get a gallon spray thing and I fuck with them all day long. Right now when it's cold, they're further underground. But in the summer, they come up to the top. And I wait till we get a warm day. Like today is supposed to be 64 or something like that. I kick over the top. I count to 20. I let them all get on the top, and then I spray their ass. If you walked around here now, you're not going to see any ant mounds. It's my hobby. I hate them. Yeah, it is calories, but I'm telling you, if you know anything about basic metabolic rate and exercise, walking's good. It's better than nothing, but it isn't like, really like, I'm kind of a pussy when it comes to cardio. Even that was always my weak thing. Even when I would rather be bigger and stronger. And, you find out genetics has a lot to do with it. I know what my strong points are and my weak points are. Like I could never be a bodybuilder, compete guy. Same with boxing and kickboxing. I weighed too much for my size. I'd be fighting these fucking monsters. I did as an amateur, but as I got older, and I have always looked a lot stronger than I am. I really never had that good of a bench press, but I look like I could bench press a lot, So then you see guys that just have freak. You have good parts and back parts. Like me, I have a long, like flat bicep. I could never have a big, giant bicep. I have big triceps and big traps up here, like right up around here. But I could never like look like those guys. You see guys like with these giant biceps. It's the shape of the muscles, like breasts, nose, ears, anything else. So I don't think I could ever done. I have small forearms too, I think, for my weight. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, Angie, it's good talking to you. You have a good day. You have a good day too. Get those good bands. Get the Mark Kropka train wreck band. Look on his channel. They're practicing. See if they cut the mustard or not. He's a good guy. Mark's a good guy. And you see like these fitness people. I had my high school track 100-yard dash record for like 34 years, I think, but it wasn't that fast. It was for a bunch of white guys, but I always get smoked. When I went to the Spartan relays at Michigan State, I'd lose to some skinny black kid like right away. And I can't jump good, but I'm a fast runner. I can punch hard and throw hard. I can't swim for shit. I drowned in I'd be the first one to drown if I fell out of a thing and the life preserver came off. I'm like exhausted in no time. I've tried everything. So, you're geared for certain things that help make you better at it, I think, honestly, my best sport probably would have been tennis, but I didn't want to do that. Yeah, so it's kind of fun, people, you have an advantage genetically sometimes. I mean, you look at these guys in pro sports, it's like, my God, the women too. I mean, you look at the times. I think that's what draws a lot of the crowd, Oh, yeah, I moved to Detroit just to play basketball with the brothers. Oh, man, it was so fun. In the hood, too. Herman Gardens, west side of Detroit, whole year, played all night long. I mean, just these freak athletes, man. I mean, Spud Webb, remember when he was dunking? I thought that was super impressive. But I'm telling you, down there, it was just like that, man. I don't care what. I mean, these guys were like good athletes. I can remember when I first started going down there, we playing this outside basketball court, and there's guys dunking all over, 5'6", 5'7", skinny, just jump out of the damn gym. I remember the first day I went down there, these kids in this like house that looked vacant, they lived there though, were jumping on a mattress and doing a complete backflip. I agree, B. I played a game one-on-one with Larry Bird to 11, 1979. I did. It's my all-time hero. They were jumping on a mattress and doing a complete black on the cement, on the concrete, and landed on their feet laughing. A white kid trying that to be a paraplegic his whole life, and they'd have a GoFundMe for him. There's like 8 black kids doing these complete flips, jumping, spinning in the air on concrete. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. I like basketball. I was like an okay basketball player. I mean, if it was like a white place, I was probably one of the better players. But when you got into I'll give you an example. I played in the summer league. Anthony Carter set a lot of the wide receiver records at Michigan. He played in the NFL for a while. He was supposed to play basketball and football at Michigan. Well, I went up there and played in the summer league, and he guarded me. And I knew I didn't score 1 point. He dunked on me twice. He was probably an inch shorter than me. But everybody on there was like that. It's like, God damn, man. That John Wangler played too. He was a quarterback, a Michigan white guy, but a hell of an athlete. And I thought, man, I just, you think when you're young that the reason you're not like that is because you're not working out hard enough. Well, as you get older, you realize it's genetics. But anyway, I went to a junior college south of Detroit, Monroe. And that was a good basketball thing. I mean, I would have never made a high school basketball team in Monroe. And I got to meet black guys in my classes. And one black guy had a brother, Rosie Barnes, Barnes from Michigan. And he was like all state, which was like heaven as a basketball player. So I started hanging around with these guys and I would play pickup with these. He ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Bowling Green. He was drafted by the Houston Rockets, but didn't make it. And he was a super nice guy. And he was always telling me I just needed to play harder and I could do what he did. It was all bullshit, but I didn't know that at the time. Well, anyway, through them, I got to know guys that played. Cody Barnes, his brother, and I lived together at college. And they were all connected to basketball. And Rosie would come up from Bowling Green and talk to the Eastern Michigan players. And I'd go out with those guys. Like, this is so cool, man. These guys were like all state. I'd look up their profile. They were recruited by Big Ten schools. It's like, God, man, this is like so cool. Well, through that, I got to know the coach of Eastern Michigan University's basketball team, who was in the NBA for a long time. Super good guy, Ray Scott. He's still alive. He was in the NBA, I think, for 11 years. And great guy, gentleman. He would remind you like a Bill Russell guy. And raised in a strict family, big-time Catholics, not Baptists. They were out in the East Coast. And he was always so kind to me. And that we had traded numbers over different things. And he knew that I knew Rosie. So I kind of got like in that group. It's like sky high all the time. Man. It's like, wow, can't believe I'm hanging out with these guys, And Larry Bird had just got on the front cover of Sports Illustrated. If you remember, it showed the 2 cute cheerleaders like bending over like a secret weapon with their finger like this. And I thought, Larry Bird. And back then, there were good white guys were around. Kent Benson, that kind of thing, Dave Cowens. But this guy was my age. And it's like, so I started following him like crazy. And I went down there, everything, French Lake. I talked to his mother on the phone twice, Georgia Bird. So probably get arrested for stalking now. So anyway, I hadn't done that yet. And Ray, when you play college basketball, you'll come in the night before. Like if you have a Saturday game, you'll come in Friday and the team shoots around, gets used to the gym. So Indiana State did that, and Ray Scott called me, and he said, hey, Larry Bird's down here shooting by himself. You ought to come down. Well, at the time, you had to have somebody in the field house. You just couldn't let the other team in. Well, Ray Scott was in there. He was the coach of Eastern, and he told, Indiana State, I'm going to be around, do whatever you want. I'm not leaving for a couple hours. So I went down to the field house. I'll never forget it. And the lights are on, Larry Bird shooting by himself. And Ray Scott comes out, and he takes me down. He said, hey, this is just a guy that I know. It's like, and I start rebounding for Larry Bird and throwing him the ball. And we're talking, and I'm like just trying to like keep my mouth shut. It's like, wow, I couldn't believe how big he was. I mean, he's listed as he's a legitimate 6'9". And if you look at pictures of him and Magic Johnson, Magic Johnson's 6'8". It was like legit heights, and he had bad like acne on his face. So we're talking, and he said, you want to play a game of one-on-one? It's like, yeah, I do. And, he was just like, doing these crazy ass shots. I think I made one basket, and that was about the end of it. And after that, we talked a little bit, and I said, man, I just can't believe, you take it to the brothers like this. I mean, you're my hero, man. He said, yeah. He said, he's real quiet, like doesn't want to look at you. He said, I just kind of got lucky. And I said, well, what about that? Like working on the garbage truck and stuff. Is that true? He said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, you know what the deal was with Indiana State? You know why why Indiana, Bob Knight, you know what happened? This is the truth. And I've never read this anywhere. And you know who told me this? He did. And his mother verified it later. I've never read this or seen it in a documentary. He told me that the reason he left Indiana was that, they gave him a scholarship, but they wanted them to pay the rent for their bowling shoes in a bowling class. And he thought they were just trying to rip him off because he was just from a small town in Indiana. That's why he left Indiana. And he didn't really like Bob Knight. And then he took the job with the city and then ended up going to Indiana State. And he said he was tall and the whole offense went through him. He acted like it was like no big deal that, anybody that would like have a team geared around him. And, that year that they came in and played, they had a 7-foot black guy that didn't play. And, I went to the game the next day. I took my nephew to it, and just big son of a bitch, man. Never played a minute. Yeah, I'm a big LeBron James fan too. But Larry, and if you look at LeBron's, you can go on Google him. And if you Google it, you can compare stats. And, I hate to say it, but if you look at stats, you got to go by something, right? Larry Bird or LeBron James is better. Hey, how you doing? Cortez, how you doing? I left Michigan because I'd met a guy down here. I'd sold him a collection of a few things. I was like not liking it up there. Got depressed, really had a problem with that. And he kept trying to talk me into coming down here. I had lived here before up in the northern part of Georgia, and I hated it. And I just had nothing to lose, just took off the suitcase one day. 3 years this April, just built this new house. Funny how it was looking like I was going to die there. Which West Ranch was a nice place. I'm not knocking it. It was a super experience with Larry Bird, it's crazy. And then later on, I went down to French Lick, and he's actually from Baden Springs, which is kind of near there. And then I went to the Larry Bird. There was a museum. He some connection with him and the Holiday Inn in Terre Haute. And, his brother's a super good guy, too, Eddie. Eddie is actually the Parks and Rec manager at Terre Haute. Eddie was a hell of a basketball player, too. Fantastic. They're both, like, super nice guys. I talked to his mom twice on the phone, Georgia. Sweetheart. Yeah, it was really an interesting story. Yeah, I've rubbed elbows with a couple people like that. Talked to Kevin Bacon for about 35 minutes one day when I was in Chicago eating lunch. I ran into Hank Aaron one time getting luggage in Atlanta airport. I'm not a baseball fan, But I was getting my luggage down, I was bending down. I looked at him. I thought, God, I said, you're not Hank Aaron, are you? He said, yeah. I said, oh, he said, what's your name? It's like, oh, my name's Tom Reed. He said, what are you doing down here? I said, I'm getting a connecting flight to Florida. Super nice guy. He was small, not big. I ran into Jenny Jones a couple times. I really had two long conversations with Jerry Springer, who was a super great guy. Anybody that knew Jerry Springer, he has a daughter, Katie. I knew Katie's babysitter. And Jerry Springer lived in the Hancock building. And I had met Jerry Springer through him at the time. You know, I could have went to the show. I didn't. Just a really charming guy, good guy. And I'd met Katie a few times. She's since got married. I don't know what she's doing now. Jerry Springer is a good guy. You'd never believe that. Everybody loves him. And I met that Steve once, you know, the guy that has his own show. He was a Chicago police officer. He lived around the corner from me. I'd see him all the time at a corner bakery. Who else did I saw? John Kennedy one time. John Kennedy Jr. I didn't talk to him. I saw Bryant Gumbel one time walking down Michigan Avenue with a good-looking blonde. I ran into Sylvester Stallone's dad lived a couple blocks away from me in Florida. I ran into him a couple times. That's about it, really. Oh, Robert Plant. Robert Plant, too, from Led Zeppelin. Talked to him for about like 10 minutes one time. Yeah, Steve, honestly, ignorant, big Polak. He just seemed like some guy that'd tell you to get off his lawn, even there was no grass in a trailer park. See, that got hooked up through Jerry Springer's production company. You know, Jerry Springer was Jewish, so, you know, he had like major connections already. And that's how that got hooked up, you know, and then same with the pawn show guys. You know, that Wes Golden or whatever name, they're on that big pawn shop in Detroit. He's another super nice guy, the pawn shop. That was all by the same production company, you know, Jew connections. You know, Jerry Springer got caught. He wrote a city check. He was the mayor of Cincinnati to an escort service. I knew right then we'd have a lot in common. It was... but Jerry Springer didn't like. But I met some cool people. I didn't talk to her, but I saw the lady. That lady had like the world's most had more plastic surgery than anybody in the world. I saw her one time in there. A waitress pointed out. I saw Pink. I didn't talk to her either. Pink, the singer. I knew waitresses, the same place where I met all these people. It wasn't any big deal, but it was a nice part of town. They would open the things in the summer and you could sit at the bar and it was like reasonable. Pink. I remember thinking she looked like a lesbian, but she had a card, like Pink something on it. And the waitress said, you see that over there? And I'd see Billy Corrigan from time to time. And that guy from Friends, David Schwimmer, never talked to him, but I'd see him in there. I played basketball once with Gary Sinise, Sinese. I played twice with Michael Jordan. I babysat Scottie Pippen's nephew, Willie, twice. Who else did I see? That's about it, I think. While I was there, I knew a guy that was banging Frank Thomas's ex-wife, Jewish girl, beautiful, class act. And that was the guy that I told you that modeled. But there was a girl that used to go to our gym. I don't like big fake tits. And he liked that. He was like the all-American guy, but he liked that stripper mentality. And he was banging a girl named, what was her name? In our gym. And everything was going great with Frank Thomas's ex-wife. I mean, she really liked this guy. He'd be gone for we lived in separate places, but he'd be gone for 3 days. They never had sex, but it'd be all night like pillow talk. And he didn't drink. Neither did she. It was just like great talking, laying in bed. Tony was her name. And when she found out that he'd screwed this Tony, that was game over. And he did. This guy was a good-looking guy. I mean, he reminded me of James Dean. When we hung out for like 5 years, and I would have women come up to me wherever we would go, mainly Tunica, Mississippi and Las Vegas, and say, who's your buddy there? It's like, is he an actor? It's like, nah, he's just, you know. I said, well, would you give him my phone number? I mean, I'm not shitting you, man. I would not have believed that was true. This guy could have screwed some new girl every night of the week if he wanted to. He tried to. He did a pretty good job at it, too. Yeah, Chad Harper was his name. You can find him on the internet. Yeah, Chad Harper. We had a good time, man. We go down to like places like Tunica, Mississippi, and spend the whole month. And it was always like the women wanted to fuck them, like the casino managers or the people that ran it. We used to like eat all the time. I mean, all this shit was hooked up because of him, not me. We would like stay a month in Tunica, Mississippi, and he was banging this one lady that ran the Jack Binion Steakhouse, the Horseshoe. And we would have like we could go in there, they could comp, like at the time, things were going well back then around 2000. You could get the buffet comp just if you gambled a lot. But if you're banging a lady that runs Jack Binion Steakhouse, we ate like steak and lobster tails like every night almost for a whole month because he was screwing the girl that ran the restaurant, Jack Binion Steakhouse. I met Jack Binion later on. Not that that means a damn thing, but he had a real thing for young, cute black girls. I know that he offered a girl that I knew that was a personal trainer down there $20,000 to bang her, and she wouldn't do it. She was going with some big basketball player from Illinois, and she needed the $20,000. So I didn't talk to him, but I had a friend that talked to him. Who's the guy the guy from South Africa, the white guy, Dave? What's his name? The singer, plays the guitar. He would come to anybody that was anything would come to the health club that I belonged at, which back then was a big deal. It was Fitness Formula. It's called Gold Coast Galleria Building. That's where I lived. Dave, what's his name? I know his bus got busted for when they were going over the bridge downtown Chicago after the concert. They pulled the trap door on the sewage, and it soaked about 20 people on a old folks boat tour with shit and pee. And they got fined like $35,000. Dave, what's that singer from South Africa? He was big for a while, played the guitar. Dave something. I never cared for him, but I had a buddy that talked to him. So, when I first moved there, it was like that right out of the chute. First day I was there, I was like riding down the elevator with Michael Jordan. It's like, God damn, this is crazy. About a week later, see Jerry Springer. A month later, get introduced to him. Yeah, it was really good. Just what I needed. I left my wife then. That was 1998. Had a super good time. What's that goddamn guy's name? That singer from Dave. Do you guys know what his name is? Dave. The singer. Let me figure this out. I know he's from South Africa. Yeah, I saw him working out in there. Oh, and so did Dave Matthews. Yeah, thank you, Dave Matthews. And I saw that Rodriguez guy, the good baseball player for New York, just after he got done signing. I knew Juwan Howard, I'd say pretty good. I ran into him in Ann Arbor a couple times, and we talked. Good guy, nice guy. And I was pretty good friends with Tim Grover. I haven't talked to him in a long time. He was Michael Jordan's trainer. And, he writes those books now on like motivation. Super great guy. Tim Grover, great guy. You can look it up. Yeah, Tim Grover's a good guy. And I'd meet all the first round draft picks in the NBA. I get free passes to go and watch these guys like work out, and it was private gyms. It was just like, God, man, this is so great. And also the guys, I knew Mr. Kite, Dominic is his name, Filipino, owned a chocolate shop right around the corner from me on State Street. I remember he was paying $105 a square foot for rent back then. And he was friends with Krause's, the guys that own the Bulls. He used to get us tickets all the time. We'd go to the Bulls games. I saw Jerry Krause in there a couple of times. I didn't talk to him. Yeah, so it was really a lot of good experiences, at the time, It was fun. John Holisek, He was a running back for New England. He got me hooked up with his brother, who was a defense attorney for an insurance company. I mean, it was just one thing after another. It was so great. One day there was a place down there for a while called Zoom Kitchen. Kind of like these gourmet salads, and you'd stand in line, you pick out all this shit you could put on there, shrimp, portobello mushrooms. I'm sitting down there with Chad one day, we're eating, and there was a stop sign right in front, right off Rush and like Oak. And we're sitting there talking this, as it turns out, it's some gay guy that got in a fight with his lover and took a dive off the 8th floor of the Bloomingdale's parking lot. Jumped off, swan dive, came right through the windshield, sit right next to us, right through the windshield of a car of old folks, 2 old guys and 2 old women that had come down to Chicago to shop, right through the window. And it's like, you hear smash like that. He said, what in the fuck is that? It's like a guy fell in that car. It's like he must have jumped off that parking deck. And that's exactly what he did. So the old people, they get out, and the old man is like all upset because he can't figure out how he hit this guy. And I said, you didn't hit him. I said, he jumped. He committed suicide. He jumped off that building there. And the women were crying. It was a fucking mess. So the guy is like at an angle with his back, like through the windshield, laying up, and he's breathing. And he had this tight, like button shirt on. And he was like gasping for breath. So I went up to him. I mean, I was right there. It just happened. And I unbuttoned his shirt. I thought maybe he could breathe better. Well, he died, short time later. And I'd learned through there were a lot of suicides in Chicago. God, I wish I could think of the name of this guy. There was another guy, Feldman or Felder. They were from Highland Park, rich Jews. This guy was a really bright guy, good guy too. Was graduated #1 in his Harvard Law School, Harvard undergraduate, and then, believe it or not, graduated #1 in his Harvard Medical School. I didn't know this guy. When he went over, part of being Jewish is to make the world a better place than after you've been here than before you got here. It's really true, even if they're people that you don't attend the synagogue regularly. And he came from an educated, rich, wealthy family, and they had it all. And he was a smart guy, nice looking guy, played the guitar, great writer, everything. And he was a cardiovascular surgeon. And he'd go to Africa and he did all sorts of heart operations. Feldman, I think it is. You could look it up. Heart operations on kids that needed him in like Africa. They'd set up shop. Just a good guy. And he came back for a residency or a fellowship at, I don't know if it was the University of Chicago, Northwestern, one of those big Chicago hospitals, Rush. And he fucked up on a goddamn surgery and the guy died. And the next day that fucker did a swan dive off the same parking lot. Killed himself. Feldman. You can look it up. There's a lot of really beautiful writing by people that knew him. But I guess he just couldn't live with himself with making that kind of mistake. But there was a lot of shit like that happened in Chicago. It's crazy. When I was down there, they'd nailed a bunch of politicians for corruption. And one of those guys went down there and shot himself along the Chicago River. I'll tell you this, when they were building the Trump Towers, I was down there all the time. They were doing a movie one time, Transformers, and they jumped off the top of those buildings. It's kind of cool. Just dove right off and like filmed it. But anyway, when they were first building the Trump Towers, everybody got fucked on that project, by the way. Sold out for way less than they paid. Rex Grossman, who was a quarterback at Florida that played for they lost their damn ass. But anyway, during the building of the Trump Tower, I will walk down there sometimes, not much because the better restaurants were north of there. But it was fun to go downtown. I take those boat rides all the time, where they go down the canal and fuck around Navy Pier. It was fun. It was like not that much, relaxing, just sit. And when they were building that Trump Towers, those fucking towers started to lean. The beginning, there's a name for those things. They put those big like pillars. They started to lean and they really hit the panic button, man. They did all this emergency shit and, cordoned off where this leak was and brought in all this super expensive shit and these experts from like the Netherlands and stuff that knew about, pouring these things to make this building. They ended up fixing it, but it took a lot longer. But that Trump Tower in Chicago, man, people lost their fucking ass on that thing, man. Everybody I knew, and Rex Grossman was one of them. Now, I don't know what the deal is on that now. Detroit's kind of going through that now at the Renaissance Center. This is how you can tell you're getting old. They tore down Joe Louis Arena. I got a tour of that when they were building it. Gay guy ran the whole operation, picked me up. Of course, he wanted to blow me. I was like 16, but ended up becoming good friends with him. No blowjobs either, by the way. He gave me a tour of that. And then when they built the RenCen, I went to the grand opening after they opened it. Now GM's moved out. Nobody wants to move in. Detroit's in trouble. So when you have these big, giant projects that cost $1 gazillion to build, and nobody wants them anymore, it's a real fucking problem. This isn't just like tearing down a 3-story apartment building. It's a huge fly in the ointment. I'm going to look that up actually when I get off here. I wonder what happened with the Trump Tower, because now what happens is you're losing your ass. There's no money, and those buildings are super expensive to keep open. And now that's happening at the Renaissance Center. Now, they accused General Motors lately of extortion, threatening behavior, because they said they're just going to leave the motherfucker. It's your problem. But it was a poorly, oddly designed building. These 3 towers, you get fucking lost in there because you had to go all the way to the bottom to go to the other one. It was just from the very get-go, but it was also super cool looking. Fairlane Town Center. I remember when they built that, Henry Ford, they had the little thing that went between the hotel and the shopping mall. Now it's kind of like ghetto, abandoned. I dropped out of college one year and worked for Harts Mountain, the pet company. And back then, that's when, the buyers were all bought off for Kmart. I took a whole truckload of liquor up to them one time. I delivered pet supplies and pets, hamsters, that kind of shit. And I remember waiting at the world headquarters up in off Maple, up around Birmingham, Michigan, world headquarters of Kmart's. And you'd have to wait in line. Here you're bringing them a free whole truckload, like a moving truck, like a Penske moving truck, whole truckload of free liquor to the buyers who decided what companies were allowed to sell shit to Kmart. And you'd wait 2 hours in line, hour and a half in line to give them free shit. And they were rude as hell, telling you to hurry up and shit. And that fucking place has been a wasteland and vacant for 20 years now. Now they're thinking about putting some kind of low-income housing or something there. But it just goes to show you, man. I can remember as a kid, the Sears I went to was the #1 retail shopping center in the world. Vacant, torn down, now nothing. So nothing lasts forever. Elon Musk just said the other day, there's a chance that Bill Gates could be broke someday. I know it sounds bizarre, but who would have ever thought Pan Am and Eastern Airlines? Pan Am used to be the creme de la creme, would be out of business. It's a funny time in America right now in the economy worldwide. You got Spirit, a non-union, low-cost carrier. I know a flight attendant for them. And, that merger fell through when they filed for bankruptcy. So, you look at whoever thought the big 3, it's really kind of like the small 2 now. Whoever thought a guy could come out of nowhere, South Africa, Elon Musk, sell electric vehicles and put a dent in Ford and GM sales? Well, it's happening. This globalization's a big part of a lot of this. You got everybody making everything now. Before we used to kiss Russia and China's ass for buying our corn. Now they don't need it anymore. They didn't get it from other places. Cuba, same shit. Everybody's making cars now. The Japanese, the Italians, fucking Indians. You can get them anywhere. Brazil. And now all that third world country stuff, which they say Mexico's not, but it kind of is. That really didn't work out like they thought it would. But it's interesting how Toyota could come to America, non-unionize a plant, and make better vehicles than we do. But when you start giving incremental raises over a 50-year span, Kmart was huge. Kresge's was huge. When I delivered for Harts Mountain, 99% of my deliveries were to Kmart or Kresge. We'd go to a Woolworth, which is connected to them too. They used to have the best club sandwich there. Just good old times. I love that. That was actually my favorite job of all time. People think PI is exciting. It's not. You may be able to bullshit some fucking stripper somewhere about, your Magnum PI, but it sucks, man. It's fucking long. First of all, You got to suck so much ass to be successful as a PI. It's unfucking believable. It's worse than anything. Doctor, lawyer, anything. I went after all the work that I wanted and begged their fucking ass. It was like entertaining, fucking tickets, fucking flowers, kids' birthdays. If you think you just put a Yellow Page ad in and told them how wonderful, you can fucking forget it. There were 50 people ahead of you that had been doing it for 5 decades. I went after the work that I wanted. Did shit for free, 2 for 1, half off, gave my home phone number. I mean, it was complete ass sucking. PI work was hard, but the best job I ever had was working for Hearts Mountain. First of all, there were a lot of cute girls there in the pet department, and they all worked part-time. So there was like 8 of them in any pet department, fish, all that shit. It was fucking perfect. And when women are meeting you for like 20 minutes once a week, it doesn't get any better than that. They don't find out what a big asshole you are. They just think you're the nicest guy in the world. There's no time for arguments. They're not going to find your porn collection under your bed because you're there, and you ask them out for lunch, and everything is just all great. And you're young and you don't know shit. And you think it's going to be like that all the time. It was so great. And I'd have like 10, 12 deliveries a day, every day, 5 days a week. And sometimes I'd go on fill in for guys that go on vacation. I'd go to South Dakota, fill in, stuff like that. It was just like 19. It was fucking awesome, man. Meet all these new women. And we had an expense account. They didn't care what we spent. If there was a good account, like say a Kmart or a Kresge's, like what I did after a while, we had expense account. They didn't give a fuck how much we spent. I mean, it wasn't crazy. You're not going out and buying guys, fishing boats. But what I ended up doing was I had a 2-day overnight route, which meant it was a 2-day thing. You're supposed to go to the place, pick up all your shit, grab all your parakeets, hamsters, all that shit, take off. It had a climate control thing and a lock on the back. Deliver that day, stay at a hotel somewhere 150 miles away, get up in the morning and deliver the other thing. Well, after a while, I thought, hey, if I really bust my ass, I can fucking have a day off every week, Fridays. And that's exactly what I did. Well, Kmart was kind of strict on when you delivered. So if you got after 5, they didn't want you doing it. Well, I couldn't make my last stop of a 2-day trip by 5 on the first day. So it's like, I get there like at 5:30. They fucking wouldn't let me in. So now I'm really fucked up. That's my last stop, and I got to spend the night for this one fucking delivery. Well, that shot a hole in the whole thing. So I got thinking about it one night, laying in bed, and it's like, how about if I just bought these motherfuckers some shit? Like aquariums. I could get all the aquariums, all that shit I wanted. You could always write it off as damage. You need some parakeets. So what I started doing is buying gift certificates to Red Lobster and places like that. And I'd say, hey, I know I'm supposed to be here at 5 and I can't make it here by 5. How about if I got you some gift? Could you wait a little longer? It's like, sure. So I ended up buying them like Red Lobster, whatever was good around there, gift certificate. And then they said, yeah, I didn't give a fuck when I got there. They'd call me and said, when are you going to get there? It's like, well, I'm not going to be there at about 6. It's like, that's no problem. They were there on their time. So it wasn't, Kmart didn't give a fuck because they weren't paying them. But they were making out like a bandit. So what I ended up doing was I would end up doing 2 days work in one day. I would load up the night before, load up all my shit. I'd be at my first stop 100 miles away the first day, bust my ass all day for 12 hours and be done around 6 or 7 at night on a Thursday, and I had every Friday off. But my sales were good. And my boss confronted me about it one day. He said, hey, you what the fuck are you doing here? Dave Cerneals was his name. Great guy. I said, well. He said, well, as long as these sales stay up, I don't give a fuck what you do. And he didn't, and I got away with it. But it was just, but anyway, I would be in towns and, I'd meet girls and take them out to dinner and stuff like that. It was so great, man. It's just fun. It wasn't like what you're thinking. Unless someone's just like back then, this is like the 70s. I mean, they could really like you a lot and you could really like them. But it wasn't like girls were coming over to my hotel. We were having a thing and we were screwing all night. It still took way more than that to get anywhere. You know what I mean? It was still fun and good. But I think 2 times in a year, I paid off like I was hoping. But it wasn't like you think, but it was still like, you didn't know that then. You were young, you know? I'll tell you what happened to me one time. There was a girl, Beverly Decker was her name. At the time, things were looking good. When you ran a Kresge's or a Kmart, if you came in out of college, they put you in a management training program, and which meant that you would have your own store in 5 years, which, you know, back then was like $100,000. I mean, it was a good job running a Kmart or a Kresge, especially a Kmart. So I go in, there was a girl there. She was kind of pretty, kind of had bad skin, but cute. And I'd talk to her all the time. And I had an overnight in Jackson, Michigan. Well, excuse me. Buyers, that was a good job. Buyers are the people that decide what vendors they buy with. So I'm always talking shit, you know, like I do here, and I'm bullshitting her all the time. We're talking. I'm like 19, and she was in this program. And one day she was telling me, you know, she knew because she'd been with Kmart for a long time that, you know, we had an overnight route. And she said, "Hey, do you have an overnight route?" I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Matter of fact, I got it down to where I spend the night in Jackson, Michigan." It got to where I would still stay in the hotel even though I was done. Just get up in the morning, take my time. But I still had every Friday off. Not totally, because I was driving the company truck back from 70 miles away, but so what? It was better than going to work. I said, "Yeah, I have one in Jackson." I was kind of like, you know, you guys know how this is. Like, kind of attracted to her, but really not that much. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, wow. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, you know. And I said, "I have one in Jackson." She said, "Well, do you ever like spend the night there?" I said, "Yeah, I do. You know, I spend the night there every Thursday night." I said, "Well, why don't you come up sometime? You know, I'm just bullshitting. We'll get dinner, that kind of stuff." She said, "Sure." Well, I didn't really drink then. You know, I didn't really start drinking until 25, but I would drink once in a while. So this shows you what a small world, how you can get nailed on shit. So I'm tired as a motherfucker, even being young, probably because I stayed up like too late the Wednesday night before I was going to try and do 2 days at once. And I'm tired as hell. And I'm laying in my damn bed at this Thursday night. She told me she had an uncle up there. It was in, I think, Hell, Michigan. Colon, Michigan, Colon, something like that. It's like 8 o'clock. I'll never forget this. I'm laying in my bed. Fucking phone rings. It's her. It's Beverly Decker. She's down in the lobby. She said, "Tom," it's like, "Hi." It's like, "How you doing?" She says, "Beverly." It's like, "I'm down here. You said you'd buy me dinner." It's like, "Yeah, okay." I'm like mediocre about this, you know? So it's like, yeah, all right. So I go down there. We end up getting dinner. And she brought some like bottles of wine, you know? So she comes back to my room. We're getting fucked up on wine. You can tell she's like interested, right? We run out of booze. We go down to the fucking, back then they had like entertainment, like a bar at the hotel, the Holiday Inn. We're all fucked up. And we're down there getting drunk, and like, you know, we're sitting in a corner, and we ordered something else there. And, you know, because you could drink at 18 in Michigan then. She was like a year older than me. Oh, same to you, Crunchy Munch. And we're getting fucked up. We're ordering this thing. Finally, this fucking couple sits down like right next to us, like in the thing. And guess who it is? It's the regional buyer for Kmart fucking around on his wife with his mistress. His name was Bunch. He had a fucked up right hand, I remember. Bunch. And she says, he looks over and he says, "Beverly," she said, "Mr. Bunch." It's like, "What are you doing here?" She said, "I'm just visiting a friend of mine." Now, that fucker did not know that I worked for Hart's Mountain because he was way up on the ladder. Even when he was one of the guys that I'm sure got some of the free booze that I delivered, he couldn't connect the dots. And she whispered to me, just don't talk too much. So she said, "Yeah, this is a friend of mine, Time." It's like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's like, "Yeah," you know. She makes up this big bullshit story. It's Wednesday at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday. She said, "This is a friend of mine." It's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And we just like fucking go back to my room. We got so goddamn drunk that, and I wasn't really interested, to tell you the truth. She ended up spending the night. And honestly, I just couldn't come through. It was between being tired, not that interested, and I just didn't. She spent the night. The next morning we get up. She's like fucking pissed. And then she calls me and I said, we'll go out again. I'm trying to like, it's no problem. I was tired, but it had nothing to do with you, which was a lie. And that from then on out, man, I never realized I wasn't interested to begin with. From then on out, man, when I delivered there, she was like just really cold towards me. Now I never said anything, and I don't know what happened to her because I went back to college the next thing. And I often wonder what happened to her. She'd be my age now. I don't know whether she had a career. Her name was Beverly Decker. Had a career at Kmart or not. It shows you what a small world. She's worried about getting in trouble, and what she was really worried about if that buyer knew that I was a Harts Mountain guy, and here she is fucking around with him, way away from where she lived. And of course, she never said anything about him. And she knew that somehow, I don't remember how she knew that wasn't his wife, probably because she was so much younger. But back then, that was the old days where that shit was very prevalent. Old guys in powerful positions. I'll bet you money that the mistress or the girl had probably a secretary at world headquarters in Troy. Small world, though, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah, Wednesday at 8:00 my time, which would be Eastern time, we're going to have a chat about affairs, and I worked on a couple famous cases where up until then, I thought people had affairs through the traditional way of like, they wanted sex, but as it turns out, there's all sorts of reasons people have them. And it isn't always because of sex. And I learned through those investigations that they're older, successful women. I'm talking about like big shots and big companies. When you're 55 and you want to have like a top-notch quality guy, your age, the likelihood of you meeting someone that meets your standards is almost zero. They're already married. So I've found that a lot of successful older women that are single have affairs with married men that they wouldn't have done otherwise because there's nothing left. And they just get tired of they don't want to go to their grave without a relationship. And if you think about that, it's hard enough meeting people when you get older that you like to begin with. So you can imagine, and it would make sense that a lot of guys wish they were single, but they're not. They're married and they're everything they want. Looks, success, whatever. Problem is they still got a wife. Maybe it's a dead marriage. Maybe it isn't. But in talking about it, you learn reasons why people do it, whether it's forgivable. Have you ever done it? Would you ever do it? If somebody did it on you, could you get over it? If you were dating someone and they told you they had affairs with married men, would it bother you? Would it affect your relationship with them? So there's a big dialogue that opens up with talking to people about things. And we also talked about different kinds of affairs. I mean, is it possible to have an emotional and a non-physical affair with someone? I think you could probably talk your way out of one of those much easier than a physical relationship. But yeah. I know my wife accused me a couple times of being emotionally unfaithful. Yeah, she should have kept following me. They notice that you're attracted to other women. She said, I notice how you interact with women that are attractive compared to people that are not. Well, this doesn't take a PhD research analyst, does it? And it's kind of true. You just do. It's weird. You're seeking validation studies. Yeah, it's interesting, Lonely. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's possible. So a man and a woman have an affair and he's having it for a completely different reason that she is. And maybe that's where the problems lie. And how about this? While I'm thinking about this, is it possible to have a successful, fulfilling affair where no one gets their feelings hurt and no one feels they got the short end of the stick? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so until I just thought of it now, but maybe there are. I know women that have had affairs with married men that the worst thing that guy could have said to her was that I'm leaving my wife. And it wasn't because they were married. They were single. So when you get down to that narrow cone of why they did it, I guess it's hard to think there was much. I don't know. I don't want to put words in their mouth. You know what I mean? If their man is cheating, that sounds good. And I usually discuss when people say I have an intuition, I'm a good judge of character. Really, let me pin you down on this. I mean, minus a crystal ball or being a legitimate, for real clairvoyant, you may think you had this power, but if you did, life would have turned out better than it did. You thought things that didn't turn out. I don't think anybody has any power. It's a hunch, which isn't shit. I'm a big science guy. I want stuff and proof, which is why I go to an MD and not a Chinese herbal guy with a long beard that hasn't taken a fucking bath in a year, that wants to give me some ground up shit from who knows where it came from that rats could have lived in until he gave it to me. You know what I mean? I mean, I just could be wrong. I guess there's people get over diseases spontaneously, but by and large, when you crunch most of the numbers, it's fucking bullshit. I go with science, younger people sometimes in the heat of the moment. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think that, you got all these human beings, man, hedonistic. You seek pleasure. You think pleasure. So you're in a marriage. I do think, and, I'm always biased because I'm a guy. From a male's perspective, I think it's possible to have sex with other women and not have any emotional attachment at all, zero. And I think it's possible to love your wife, but not want to have sex with her. So, and I'm not using this as an excuse to think it's okay, but I do think that if that's what women want the most, and that's what they put on the number one on their pecking order, that if I talk to someone who'd been cheated on by their husband, I think I could convince them that it isn't what you're thinking. I'm not making excuses for them, but if your husband cheated and you knew it was just sex compared to an emotional attachment, which is why you two are married, I'd say you don't have anything to worry about, and I would tell him not to do it again. I learned this very late, and I'm a very bad example of doing the right things when I was younger, and I don't make any excuses for it. I can give you reasons why I thought it happened: genetics, upbringing, insecure. I don't know. But along the way, I figured things out. It could have been too late. As you guys know, I've been in a mental institution twice. And, I don't want to say a come to Jesus moment, but even before then, like even with drinking alcohol, I thought if it ever came down to it, I could quit this, no problem. And I thought along the way, and I had thought this, it almost like you have to have the last shoe drop before it really gets your attention. And I remember saying to myself one day, I could end up a slow, miserable death, but for quite a while now, I got a clear conscience. I'm not doing any fucked up bullshit. I mean, if I found $10 million on the street, I'm going to return it. I'm not going to mess around with someone that's in a relationship, no matter how I would justify it. So when my dick falls off from terminal cancer, at least I'll have the clarity of mind to know that it wasn't some fucked up behavior that I did. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this makes you a better person or guarantees you any longer time, but I got a clear conscience with everything that I do. I really do. I mean, I'm like a typical guy like anybody else, but I tell people, you could send your wife down here and she could spend 3 days and I wouldn't touch her no matter what she wanted to do, because I know that's fucked up. And I know that doing things like, I wouldn't try to. She may not be interested anyway. I wouldn't try to, because you can't be that kind of person. Everything needs to be above board for a clear conscience. It has nothing to do with morals. It has nothing to do with religion. But I do believe, like, karma is a Buddhist thought pattern. And that's the best way to explain it, where everybody recognizes things. I don't want to do fucked up shit that everybody isn't on board with. I don't want any secrets, exaggerations, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, I've had some pretty good, open relations with people. I mean, I was friends with a woman. I still am, really. And I mean, you guys know what I'm like with porn and that kind of thing. And for a long time, her husband knows me. He's cool. They're still married. I just talked to her the other day for the first time in about a year and a half. And I mean, they just have, I can't figure it out. They're still together. It's kind of an open relationship. They can do what they want. And she does what she wants, believe me. I mean, if you were ever going to imagine this, if you could ever just like all your fantasies, everything you really liked, big time, and you found someone that wanted to do that and they did it, a lot of times that's hard to break away from. And if you knew do you want them as your relationship? You don't. But when it comes to that part, that's very powerful. All you need to do is watch a crime show and see the crazy shit people that had it made do over emotional attachments. And I would not want to, you can't have it both ways. I mean, I joke about this. You guys don't really know Jabo too much. She comes on here. I've become really good friends with her. And I like, if I have my dream world, I'm divorced now, which I lost, by the way. But I am appealing it. And I don't care. My lifestyle is going to change whether I win or whether I don't, but I think I got a bad deal on it. Now, I'm one of the same guys you hear about, a bitter divorced guy, but not for reasons you'd think. I think I got fucked financially, but I can live with it if it happens that way. I'm soothing out. But I tell people all the time, if you said to me, what do you really want? What would you really like? How would you really be happy? Because I know I'm like a strange guy in a lot of ways. Like but I don't want to be a sneaky, backstabbing, adulterant, unreliable, two-faced motherfucker, which is why I don't date, I guess. I just don't think I could stand some around. But if I have this is no bullshit. I joke about it sometimes. Sometimes I've been serious. If I had everything that I really wanted, like for real, for sure, none of this where, I was like, I'd have like Jabo as my girlfriend. She's my age too. For all the like cultural, rich, deep meaning, superb writing ability, well-read, and she's Jewish, which I tried to connect the dots on that, but I never could. Her as my girlfriend, but just some blue-eyed, blonde, dingbat, unemployed idiot with big tits that could deep throat, that didn't want to work, and I'd subsidized her income. I would be like the happiest guy in the world. So you see the dilemma here. Now try and merge those two things together. Electrical frequency, I never really considered it that way. So you try and, it's impossible. So what ends up happening? Right here, you're talking to him. I just don't, it really didn't interest me that much. And there's a big world out there between, someone you're running around holding hands with, bragging that you're happy. And I just think I'm too far out of the box in too many of the things. So, when I've tried it, it seems like it had to be a couple facets from a couple people, and I could never get it all in one package. And to be honest with you, I say about this, if somebody came up to me that was like that, the whole package, I'd probably run because I just wouldn't believe it. This would be like women too. You think that you could like have, or men too. If you really picked everything, what you really are into, it may take 3 guys to bring this all together, which, that's just the way it is. You're never going to find 3 guys or do it with 3 guys. See, I don't want to say settle, but you get involved with one guy that fills most of the boxes, but there's always something lacking, Oh, vulnerability makes me uncomfortable. That's why my last relationship was an affair. Oh, it worked for you. That's interesting. Huh. Coworker that was like that too. Her boyfriend was a married man. They had girl. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. See, these are the kind of interesting discussions that I like to have because, and a lot of times too, if you guys ever experienced this, you will look for a justification, not for anybody else, but just yourself when you do something that you maybe shouldn't do. You know what I mean? And here's another flip side of that too. I mean, it was said in the context of a joke, but they say you'll never find a more bitter, hostile, disappointed, unfulfilled woman in your life than a 75-year-old retired nun that never had sex. Now, is that true or not? Well, good question. Is it possible? Yeah. Is sex everything it isn't? Is the chastity worth your Lord and Savior and not getting laid for your whole fucking life and figuring it out at the end when it was too late and nobody wanted you? These are all things that make for interesting dialogue. You know? Yeah, that could be true. It could be true. Yeah. Yeah, but the affair thing, that's interesting. Was an affair. Now, Crunch and Munch, do you feel, was there anything out of that affair that you wish you'd have had that you didn't get? And is this a form of self-deprecation? I mean, because, I think of these things sometimes, and I think, God, if I was a woman, I'm not a big holiday guy, not a religious guy at all. I don't get lonely for some reason. It's weird. And if I was a woman, I find it hard to believe that on the holidays, when the married guy had a wife and kids or whatever he was into, and in Christmas Eve meant something to me, and I knew he was there and not with me, that would bother me. But maybe that's one of the good things. I mean, you assume a lot of things. I mean, no matter what you think, you're always biased. And it just seems to me sometimes on the surface, and this is illogical, this is just a rogue emotional thought. Are you feeling bad for something that never existed for anyone? This is just something that occurred between the ears that's false. More money and gifts. Yeah, that's true. The affair worked for years until he caught feelings, and it became messy. I just had someone tell me that the other day. But I don't know how. Yeah. Yeah, it's so damn interesting. I think sometimes too, when you're young, you're stupid, you've been brainwashed by the system. I can remember I was the most jealous, crazy motherfucker in the world. And it's just all mental illness. And I would get jealous about guys that girls had been with before I even knew them. It doesn't get more fucked up than that. And then as I grew up, and it's almost tits up right now, I look and I think, like, say I met a porno movie actress that was retired. I would have never considered that. But I think I've grown enough. And it isn't because, I think that, well, we can do all this shit for real now. It's that there are bigger things than that you can overcome. You know what I mean? And I don't think that John, the paying male, is any better or any worse than the woman that he's paying for it from. It's just one of these things that occur, and the edges are always ruffled and not defined very good. My Jen's husband. Oh, gotcha. Who was I reading that about? Oh, you know who I bet? I'll tell you that here. I'm glad you said that because it triggered a thought, and that is that, and you can find this on YouTube. Captain and Tennille. That song was bang. Hey, Michelle, Muskrat Love. It was banned because it was too sexual. What the fuck? Now look. But anyway, as it turns out now, I sent this to James actually. Now they're saying that the captain was actually autistic. And if you look back and you look at the current definition of that, he probably was. And Tennille goes around now and tells anybody that's listening, it's a recent YouTube video that Daryl never loved her clothes. She tried. And I just want to take a baseball bat to her. That knocked that mop top Dorothy Hamill haircut off the top of her head. I mean, shut the fuck up. First of all, Daryl's dead. Secondly, he asked you to marry him. You knew what he was like before then. Now he's dead and you're talking about you didn't get this love. I'm kind of a guy like that. I just don't think you should be talking about Daryl negative like that. And then after they get done trashing him for what I never kissed her once and they were married 40 years and she's been striving for love ever since. Now she talks what a great guy he was and he was still friends. Well, which is it? You know what I mean? I mean, Daryl made Tennille, and I'm not saying she's in debt or he's a great guy for doing it, but it takes two to tango. And fucking Tennille just talks like it was all Daryl and he's not there to defend himself. Fucking pisses me off. Yeah, domestic violence is fucked up. It is. Although when I was young, I was jealous, man. I really was, man. I had some blowout fucking arguments. See, now that doesn't make sense, Melanie. To not get married because divorce scares me. I mean, that's so far down the line. I mean, I believe that's how you feel. But that's like, light years beyond why you get married to begin with. I mean, it would even make more sense if you got married and then were worried about getting divorced, not blaming not getting married because you didn't want to get divorced someday. I just don't think it's like completely rational. Speaking of getting divorced, there she is. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Tom.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we're talking about different things, affairs and whether they're good, whether they're bad, if there's reasons for them, and if you can get anything out of them and go unscathed when they go to hell or you get caught.
Having an affair is probably never a good idea. I mean, I don't think anybody could come up here and be like, yeah, have affairs. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. I mean, how many people would honestly come up here and say that?
How about this, an open relationship? What if you came home and said, honey, I'm just going to get a drill in this Friday night and I didn't want to have an affair without you knowing about it. Is that any better or worse?
I think that you should stay away from it.
An open relationship?
Yeah.
So you don't think it's possible that could make a relationship better?
No.
How about swingers?
I think that complicates things too with relationships.
Oh my God. Why don't we just go to church tomorrow, you and me then?
Okay.
You want to read me a Bible passage now?
No, I'm just...
You know, there are swingers that have been married for 30 years. They're doing fine, thank you.
I'm not saying that there probably isn't people out there, but I'm saying in general, it's not a good, it's like, if you're up for a complicated life and stresses, I mean, some people, they're made for it. They're made to they
drama
thrive.
Yeah, you're right. Are you saying then it's not possible to have a healthy, long-term swinging relationship with your spouse? I mean, that they're all bad?
I did not say that they're all bad. Okay, I did not say bad.
Right. But I'm asking you now, is it possible that there could be a good one? Maybe better than one that you've had not doing it.
I mean, I'm not going to compare everything.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, everybody strives for a good, peaceful life, right? Everybody wants to be prosperous. Everybody wants to be happy. And I think that's a common thing. And, whether or not people have more, usually somebody gets hurt when there's more than one person. Somebody usually gets hurt and miscommunications happen, and maybe somebody likes somebody else a little bit more, and that can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
But do you think that? But I mean, do you think then that? I mean, what's unusual about being in a marriage long term and having it get boring and seeing someone else you're attracted to? Isn't that human nature?
You know what? This is how I look at it. I told a lot of people this advice. Okay, and this isn't me just whatever, but if a relationship isn't working out,
mm-hmm.
and it could be a multitude of reasons and nobody's fault or whatever. If it's not working out anymore,
Mhm.
then you leave.
But if you look at statistics, most of them aren't working out. Divorce is higher than marriage. I mean, isn't this human nature after all?
M-
Most
I
don't
don't,
work out.
right. And then you move on.
Yeah, move on. But do you think
Right.
moving on can be fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking A right. Why? Now we're getting somewhere.
If you're in a very damaging relationship where it's hurting you to be in that
Yeah.
relationship,
You got
e-
bored.
even in, uh,
I
I
had
mean,
how about
that's,
this? How about this? I had an old Jewish lady tell me one time that horror houses save more marriages and they broke up.
well, that's her,
You
her
don't agree with that?
opinion. Um, I don't feel like a good, healthy relationship would involve lies and um everything else. I mean, I don't know everybody's relationships and what they're okay with, what
Yeah.
they're not okay with.
How
Like,
about this? How about this? You meet a new guy, you really like him a lot, and he starts bragging about 4 affairs he had. Would that be a killer?
yeah, I would probably want to stay away from that because and the only thing is like everybody makes mistakes, right?
Yeah, but hey,
Everybody does
yeah, but hey,
something.
how about this? An affair is a long, drawn out chance for you to bail on this up until it happens. You meet him, you're with him, you fall in love, it becomes intimate, you screw. I mean, you've had a million times to not put this in a mistake pigeonhole, and you did it anyway. So, I mean, would you say this is a character flaw or just the inability to be honest?
I
You want
think it
honesty, don't you?
the thing is and I can't speak for everybody, obviously. I
Yeah.
can't.
Mhm.
Um, but I know that if if you're actively, tr- if you actively like want to be with somebody and then you have an affair on the other person,
Yeah.
it's kind of saying like my needs are more important than my spouse's needs, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it's a horrible relationship just altogether, like
Yeah.
they shouldn't probably be together anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I would exactly call that an affair. You guys should have just ended it and parted ways because a
Yeah.
lot of people they go out and find somebody not just because they want to have sex with somebody. It's because either there's problems in the relationship and for whatever reason they feel that they can't leave their spouse, for whatever reason. I don't know. People have their reasons.
Yeah, they're in too fucking deep because both of
Even
them don't want
though,
to live in
even
a trailer after they sell the house.
even though that's the right thing to do, right? So, like,
Yeah.
think about it like this, Tom. You had a business, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you were a business owner, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure there were times running a business where a person just wasn't working out. Just
Yeah.
wasn't working out for whatever reason. And you could fire the person, you could keep the person on, or you can kind of just play games with them or whatever else until, they leave, or, it's kind of like the same thing. Like to run a good, successful business, you can't have people doing certain things.
Hmm.
There's just things that, or
But,
else it's not
but
gonna be good.
you don't. Yeah. Yeah. But you
You
don't
keep,
believe it. Everything is like always above board and like totally honest. You seek honesty, don't you?
oh, sure.
You
Yeah.
appreciate it, don't you?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And do you believe that it always works out that way?
I believe
How about this? I'm dating you. We're getting along great, and you say, we've talked about this. I really want you to be honest with me. It's like, okay, I'd like to fuck your sister.
well, I mean, like, that it probably wouldn't work out because I
Yeah,
wouldn't
see what I
let
mean?
you
So
fuck my
that's where
sister.
the wrinkle and the honesty things comes. I mean, who's really honest when the dust settles?
Honesty is the best policy. I
Yeah,
mean,
to a point. I mean, it's just too painful sometimes. Like
I mean,
I've got arguments with women over that I start laughing. They want to know what I'm thinking. It's like my private thoughts. I mean, aren't there some thoughts that are none of your spouse's business?
the thing is we all have bad thoughts or funny thoughts that are
Bad. There you
inappropriate.
go again. How about good thoughts,
Okay,
healthy thoughts?
we'll say we all have thoughts that probably aren't always to our benefit, right? So you'll have
Yeah.
thoughts, you'll have these things come in your, whatever,
Mhm.
and you don't always act on all your thoughts. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
everybody acted on every single thought that
Yeah.
came through their brain,
Yeah.
like, hello, like what would you think would
Why
happen?
are they in your brain though?
Oh, because I don't know, everybody's brains functions differently.
Right.
I mean,
How about this? Do you think thinking of another guy when you're with one guy is a form of emotional infidelity that you should never mention?
I think if you're thinking of another guy when you're with a guy,
Yeah.
that you should really reevaluate your relationship with the guy that you're with, because there's something not going on that's good that you're not
So
addressing.
you're talking about the beginning of a relationship, not after you've been doing it a couple of years. I mean, who the fuck doesn't think about other people when you're? I mean, do you believe in this really?
What I'm saying is if you are in a good relationship, solid relationship with
Yeah, when it
somebody.
first starts off, of course you're just thinking about them. Everything's great.
Well, the
Lust.
thing
There's no reason to think about anybody. I'm talking about 10 years down the road.
what I'm thinking is you're always going to have these tempting thoughts, right?
Yeah, you telling me.
It happens to everybody, like nobody's impervious to,
Yeah,
having thoughts that aren't going to necessarily lead you in a good direction or, the right direction. I mean, everybody has thoughts, right?
yeah,
It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they're going to be beneficial to you if you act on every thought that comes through your brain.
yeah,
Like that doesn't, and the thing is too is a lot of couples usually get married and they might have kids together and like want that. Not everybody, it's not for everybody, and I'm not judging that. But that's usually a foundation for people to stay together longer because they created a family. And so when you're thinking, oh, I want to have this, like, want to have that, and everything else, you're like, oh, wait, look at my kids, look at my grandkids, let me try
yeah,
to work with what I got here,
yeah, yeah,
more than just my own needs, my own wants and needs. Like, um, and that works out too, you know?
yeah. But I mean, this sounds great, but it sounds like a brainwashing from a marital counselor. You're dating a guy, you're going through all this bullshit. You're pretending to be happy to your friends and family and your YouTube people. And all of a sudden, after the second year, you go home and you find 2,000 DVDs he bought on YouTube that are porn. Do you think this is detrimental to a relationship, or would you just understand that men are like this and he can go ahead and watch it if he wants to? Would you have a fit if you found 2,000 DVDs under the bed of a guy you were involved with? After,
I would be concerned, and I'll tell you,
oh,
I'll tell you the reason. It's
yeah, I
probably
know the
not what you think
reason.
it is. It's probably not what you think I'm gonna
Okay,
say.
what is it?
I would want to know how he's doing mentally, if he was okay.
Of course
Because
he's okay. He's got 2,000 DVDs of other women. How
because
about
I
men
just
being men?
I would want to check in on that,
Oh, okay.
because I would be like, I would put out my feelings, and I'm not saying that his what he's doing is wrong,
Yeah,
but like I would just want to, just check and make sure everything's okay, just on everything else. It's a conversation to have
yeah.
because um
How about this? You go out, you decide to get married again. You have a bachelorette party, and some Chippendale puts his big 9-inch pecker on your forehead while you're drunk for your bachelorette party. Do you think that's possible to ruin a relationship from the get-go, and that women maybe shouldn't have parties like that? This happens. I know relationships that have been ruined from bachelor and bachelorette parties doing stupid shit like that while they were just having fun.
What you do is you have to, the key to a good solid relationship is
Mhm.
just check in, be honest with your partner, like whoever your spouse partner
Yeah.
is in life.
Uh-huh.
You have to be communicate, like there can't be no, you can't hold back, right? Just
Mhm.
unless if it's to spare their feelings, if you really care about them.
Yeah.
Like you gotta care, like just be like, look, this is what I don't like, this is what I'm okay with. And if the other person loves and cares about you, they're gonna stop doing it. They're not gonna want to do it because the love goes both ways. Like if you meet somebody and you're like, this person's really good for me. I'm a better person because of this
Mhm.
other person, and I'm really content and happy in
Mhm.
life. If they say something, like you're gonna be like, oh, this person really cared, really did care about me. Like if he or she says something, I'm gonna really think about that and not just care about whatever I want to do at the minute. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, this
Do
is
you
worth
think you
a.
could do you think you could be in love, have a great relationship, but the sex life sucks?
I mean, sex is a very important part of a relationship. The intimacy, it has to be there. So I mean, if it's not working, I mean, it's up to obviously the individuals, but you got to try to work something out uh, in that area because you should you should be intimate with your significant other. I mean, that's a
But
that's
then
a
you don't think it ever gets
that's
boring, even though, I mean, do you think this, you act like you're 21, you get married, and you're supposed to be fucking like rabbits 40 years later. I mean, this sounds good on paper.
so the thing is a long-term marriage, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to do some things sometimes that you necessarily just don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
And but if there's no benefits from, like, if you're not feeling content about it and respected and loved and cared for, you're not
Hmm.
going to want to, you're not going to want to do those. You're not going to want to hurt the other
Yeah, but
person.
who's doing this after 25 years? Give me some damn names.
A lot of I have people in my family who are still married after 25 years. I mean, it can happen. It's possible. I mean, I'm not slamming anybody who didn't do it.
Slamming.
I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, But I'm
Yeah.
just saying a good healthy relationship is possible.
Forever.
Yeah, yeah. But you're going to go through some horrific times. This isn't without a warning of saying like there's you're gonna have doubt. There's gonna be times when you're gonna have doubts. You're gonna want to just not do it anymore, and that's natural. That is natural. I will give you that, Tom. Like that's very
Did you ever
uh
see the movie Hall Pass?
yeah, yeah. I saw that movie. Yep.
Does that sound like it could work or just a lot of bullshit?
I mean, it might be able to work, like especially if both parties like
Yeah.
communicate,
Hmm.
and talk about it. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like,
Right.
but like I said, it's a risky thing to do too because it could end up being like not being good.
How about this? If you had this kind of trusting relationship that you claim that's possible, then that means that you could be married and you could have a husband go to like a remote island with a buddy on a fishing trip where you could get blowjobs all day long for $1 by beautiful women. And if your relationship was as happy as you say it could be, that you wouldn't have a problem with him going there at all because you trust him and you know that he wouldn't get one. He'd just fish. Is this where you can eventually get with when all the ducks line up properly? Is it possible?
I I wouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that I don't trust. Um,
Good luck.
because well, you got to be able to to have freedom. You have to have trust and responsibility. It's you got to um I'm not saying people fall into temptation all the time, right?
Mhm.
It happens to everybody, and we're
But
not
it's
just
just
talking.
human. It's human.
Right, right, right. And what I'm saying is um it can lead you acting on temptations in life can lead you to more of a destructive, not fulfilling life if you act on all of the.
Yeah, but what's that? I mean, what's that? You don't get married, you bang everything you get your hands on, you got a huge porn collection, you love strippers, topless bars, and escort services. You're assuming that that's bad, and all people that do that are miserable because they're not holding hands singing jingles at the fucking tree lighting at the town they live in.
I didn't say that they're all everybody's bad. Okay, that never
But do
came
you
out of
but
my
you but you
mouth.
act like anything less than what you explained is not healthy, happy, and satisfying.
The thing is when you sit there, right?
Yeah,
It would be like, like how when you were in the workplace, right?
yeah,
You worked for a while.
yeah.
If you just didn't feel like working and felt like just doing other shit all the time, nothing would get accomplished. Like your business would go under. Like if you're like, "Oh, I really don't want to do this today," type of deal, like
Yeah.
I just want to do whatever I feel like doing,
Hmm.
and every urge and temptation, like you wouldn't have been able to build a good business to make money off of.
Yeah.
Is I think it's when you fall into these traps, whatever you want to call them, traps, temptations, whatever in life.
Yeah, but people change, don't they?
I'm not saying that people can't learn and change. I never said that. I said, I said, you want to talk about, I could tell you about the person I was and the person that I was after doing some stuff that I wasn't proud of,
Yeah.
and I had to apologize. I had to do some things where I could have just been like, oh yeah, like I was just living my life. That was just whatever,
Hmm.
so that I could live a better, like, for myself, for my
Yeah.
own conscious and for my own um to not be that way anymore. And
Hmm.
it takes a lot, it really does. And I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not out here trying to say like everybody's wrong and like da, da, da. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is the more you fall into like temptations and stuff, the harder it is to have more of a content and happier and fulfilling life. I'm not saying that you can't still find some happiness in life. I'm not saying, anything else, but like people always talk about wanting a fulfilled life. They want to have a lot of friends, they want to have money, they want to, be successful, content, and everything else. And if you're always falling into temptation all the time, it's going to be more difficult
Not
for you.
just temptation. I mean, would you agree with happiness as a moving target?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like as far as like even like with jobs, you could have one job for a while and then, you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
just can't find any contentment with it and want a different job or position. That can be related to a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Or if you didn't want to have kids and then you wanted to have kids. I actually know a lot of people who had kids later in life. And everyone can scrutinize that and have their feelings and thoughts, but when they were at the quote unquote, like childbearing ages, wanted nothing to do with it. it was a little bit more challenging and difficult later in
Right.
life,
Yeah.
but they did it and they're very content and happy with their decision on, you know, having children.
But I mean, what made you happy 5 years ago may not make you happy today, and 5 years from now may not
If
make you
it's
happy then. I
if
mean,
it's
so what's the likelihood of two people going through these phases simultaneously?
right. This is the thing. And this is I think this is the key. Oh, my battery's a little low on my let's see, hold on.
Okay.
Um hold on 1 second. I'll be right
Right.
back.
Okay. Getting down to the nitty gritty here. I'll find out the truth one way or the other. I think it's a moving target. And then, once you make it to like 85 and you're both not sure what city you live in, that's not the kind of love I'm talking about. That's just something that, Good Morning America pans in on you and gives a bullshit example of what's possible. I think that needs to be the minimum requirement for any more of these bullshit stories. You at least have to know what city you're in when they interview you. You got the new battery on?
Yes, it's charging right now.
Oh, good, good. Okay. Yeah, I think if you last long enough, though, like to 85, it's like that's not the person to get advice from. You know what I mean?
I
It's like your age now. You're still like, it's a balancing act. Part of it's luck. Part of it's luck who you get introduced to in your life,
Yeah.
who you cross paths with,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like I said, I mean, you have a lot of good valid points as far as
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is what my point. If it feels good, do it.
well, there you go. If it's working for you.
And so far, so good. I mean, I'm not like, lighting off fireworks every day, but it could be a lot worse. I mean,
It's
you look at it like a half full rather than I look at like a half empty.
you have to be content with your own life. And if you are
I
content,
think I'm doing as good as possible. I mean, you get up every morning doing fucking jumping jacks, how things have worked out.
what I'm saying is
The
if it's
road to
working
hell is paved with good intentions.
the road.
Really, everybody tries. You know what I mean? It's not that easy. I think there's a form of an aspect of like just being lucky. The people you ran into and that kind of thing. And some people are just maybe like insatiable emotionally and sexually, just can never satisfy them.
I think being being satisfied in life too, that's all you can really ask for, is if
Yeah,
you can feel content and satisfied,
yeah,
then you made it. You
yeah.
you
But
made you
long
made the
term, long term, everybody is had it for a while. It's the long stretch where it gets dicey.
there's always going to be points in everyone's life where it's not going to be the best, right?
And
Because
what causes that though, with this kind of positive attitude you have? What's creeping in there?
well,
I'll tell you
um
what it is. Human nature. That's the problem. What
right
you
there
want is not
well,
all that easy to have long term. I
I
can give you
mean,
millions of examples. You get tired of it. It's sad to say. I mean, I don't know if it's even sad. I think it's human nature, It's like, and then and finally you just run out of time and die.
I think if you stay busy and active enough too, that
Mhm.
helps. Like if you're focused on a lot of things,
Mhm.
that you're passionate about. Like
Mhm.
everybody is good at something, right?
Yep.
And if you can try your best to stay engaged and keep yourself whatever floats your boat,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I can't say what what
Mhm.
everybody likes. But I mean, that can usually lead to contentment too, because even when I would meet people who retired,
Mhm.
because a lot of people, their jobs was their livelihood.
Yeah.
Like it gave them their sense of purpose, their sense of being.
Yeah.
And when they retired, they kind of struggled with that, right?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden they're not needed as much, they don't
Yeah.
feel as needed and all of this and that. But then you go and you volunteer, you do part-time work here, you take up a hobby, a craft, um, and you just try to keep your mind busy.
Yeah. How about this? Do you think you've met, do you think it's possible like someone meets everything you like, they're a great person, but you're just not sexually attracted to them? Or how about sexually attractive people that you knew that would be bad for you?
Well, you're gonna have that in life no matter what, Tom. There's Just because somebody might not be sexually attractive to you doesn't make them a good or bad person. Or,
No, but could you get over the hump on that? Like if you met people and you just know right away,
I mean,
I mean, do you think that's important, at least at the beginning of a relationship?
right, that's human attractiveness to have kids and you
But I mean, you're not going to fall head over heels in love with somebody that you're not physically attracted to, are you?
you have to be attracted to the person. You have to. I think with women though,
Do you know that right away?
yeah, like if I'm definitely not attracted to somebody, like you just know, and everybody's like, a lot of it
You
stems
don't think you
to,
could work through that?
oh, well, a lot of it too stems through from wanting to pass on your genes, you want your kids, if they look healthy, right? So even if somebody looks healthy, like you're gonna be like more attracted to them to like want to have kids and to um
You're getting really out there.
but what
I
I'm
mean, don't
saying
you ever
is
see people you just find attractive? It's got nothing to do with wanting kids. It's your hormones talking to you.
it
Your
it
eyes relayed the message to your brain. Your brain created an emotion, and you verbalized, "Yeah, I'm attracted to them." Or how about this? You ever been attracted to people and you don't know why? Because it doesn't really fit the criteria that you're used to.
Right, yeah. Like, I mean, I never kept like a criteria. Um, I
Yeah.
would I would just go like it would usually be um a lot of it was how they treated me and everything else and some of their values, and that's what was attractive to me. Then they didn't have to look like they came out of a freaking GQ whatever catalog, like you could
Yeah.
have Mr. GQ and yeah, he could be attractive, right?
Hmm.
Like yeah, he's a very attractive man, but you don't know where he is in life and like you guys like to have a long-term decent relationship too. You got to find a lot of similarities, wants, and all of that.
So then you should, in the next 20 years, just be the happiest person on earth with all this knowledge.
I
I mean,
can
why
hope
not?
I can hope so. Do you want me to be happy, Tom?
Yeah.
Aw, I hope so. I know so. I know so. Okay.
Yeah. So this is an affirmation. This is something that, if you believe in it, you want it, you're on your A game now. Hey, now I want a couple of comments from the other people in here, like
Okay.
Crunch and Munch and Callie, if they're still around. And that is that they're older than you are, I think. Well, I think Callie's around your age, but a little older. I
Yeah.
mean, and the men too, you're welcome to count on this. I tell you this all the time. At this point in your life, you've got almost a full deck of cards. You're not ugly yet. You're not fat. you're sexually desirable, you got a good personality, but those cards on that deck are slowly going to flutter away out the window. And by like 55, you're not going to have the options then that you have now, no matter what. No matter fucking what. It's just the fucking way it is. It's the same reason birds fly south in the winter and not north.
Options for what?
For happiness and like a relationship and like fulfilling all these goals and being satisfied and really, got the hole in one. And I think there are people out there that know that you have lots of options now that you won't have 10 or 15 years from now. And I don't think you really believe this.
I'm just living my life, Tom, and I'm not living it by anybody else's standard time frame or anything else. And that's what everybody has to do.
No,
Just
if
like
you could
just
wave
like
a
what I said.
wand, if you could flick a switch, would you like to be 55 now?
No.
All right, then you're catching
But who
on.
would want? But who, like nobody's like, oh yeah, I want to be like 20 years older, like closer to death. Nobody would say that.
No, but it's not necessarily the age range, but the opportunities that are presented to you.
I mean,
You wouldn't be talking all this crazy shit now at 70
I'll tell you what.
because the ship sailed.
I haven't had a ton of like opportunities in life, and that could be. I'm not
58.
I'm not
Wow.
trying to blame like anybody or anything.
Yeah.
It could be um
How
whatever decisions I've made in my life or chose to do something,
how
didn't
about this?
choose
I
to do
just asked
something.
Crunch and Munch and I asked Callie, do you women think that Michelle has more opportunities now for utopia than she'll have 15 years from now? We'll get it from other women, your peers. Callie's down the road, 18 years older than you. Wow, this will be super valuable. And Crunch and Munch is 8 years older than you. So they know more than you as attractive females at this juncture in their life. And maybe they, when it's coming from a male, all bets are off. See, absolutely, Callie says. And she doesn't have a penis, so it matters.
Well, I don't
And I
have a
bet Crunch and Munch says the same thing. I mean, we know how the world works, gravity, all this stuff, and the moon, the sun coming up, all this stuff. It's the same thing, and it's being aware of it. It's not a crapshoot.
Yeah, but you
How
said
many
it can be
top?
a crapshoot. You said sometimes you can just get lucky,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes you can't
You
just get
said
lucky,
that.
but I mean, I think you tend to discount the importance of physical attractiveness. How many topless bars are women 60 and over? And the parking lots are full.
But
This
the
is my
thing is,
point.
but the thing is,
This
it's
is a tough pill to swallow.
not every man is just like all about like when you're in a long-term relationship and stuff, looks can go either way. Like, well, oh, well, you know what, Tom? Here, let me validate your point too, though.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
Because I was
good,
just talking,
good.
I was having a conversation about this the other day, and this completely validates your point.
All right.
Do you know how much money women spend on beauty
Yeah,
and like just
yeah.
procedures,
Good point.
hair
Took the words right out of my mouth.
everything else?
Why?
That business, if you want to get
I
involved in a
know.
business,
I know.
it's- get involved in like women's
No, I know.
beauty,
I'd love to, man. Believe me.
everything. You would
I
probably
really wouldn't like that. I did one time when my buddy was modeling and they couldn't keep photographers and I did like model
you
photography.
oh okay, you mouth.
It's so boring. I hated it, man. Just a bunch of stupid bimbos. It was like
Look this
so
way.
boring. It's not like you're making photos for comp cards and they're blowing you because you did a good job. I mean, it wasn't anything like that. I mean, that was like I could have been on a different planet talking to these women. It wasn't like I thought I had some in because I'm doing this bullshit, but it was so unbelievably boring. I couldn't stand it. Then they wanted to pay me some like crazy dollar amount to do this, and I just still couldn't do it. I hated it. I did it for about a month. So like boring, but it does kind of tie into like the, women and the beauty and the kind of thing and how it's perceived on both sides. But,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you're not putting that makeup on and looking your best in a dating profile for anybody other than the opposite sex.
I mean,
Not doing it for
sometimes
yourself.
sometimes you do it.
Look at women when they get secure, they got money, kids are out of the house, and they don't give a fuck. They don't wear makeup anymore.
No, that's not true,
Yeah,
and
most
I
of them
know a
don't.
lot of women who do it for themselves too, because when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you wanna look your best and feel your best, and there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with just doing
bullshit.
it for yourself. If you can look in the
Okay,
mirror.
then from now on, just start coming on the chats with no makeup.
I did, I've done that, I've done
Yeah,
that a
but it's
lot.
dark. I want the lights on like now. That's right. No, I think this is just
I'm not
a
wearing
part.
any makeup right now.
None?
None.
Yeah, here you are, you liar. It helps, doesn't it?
It Yeah,
Why is that? I can't figure that out. Like that is an
well, I'll
advantage
tell you
women have.
no, I'll tell you, a couple of things. What makeup does is it just enhances your natural beauty. So nobody's like has the perfect skin tone. Nobody, if you do see people with it, they're wearing makeup, right?
Mhm.
And I'll tell you reasons for that. It could be like environmental reasons. It could be
No, it
like
isn't.
it could be with your when your skin on your face and everything.
Yeah,
Like
you
it
can.
could
There's
get
medicated things that aren't makeup. You're wearing. I know why you makeup. Wear it. Look at beauty and stuff like that, Miss America and stuff like that. You know, they got the bathing suit. They sing a song. They do a fucking backflip. You got any of them coming on without makeup? Fuck no, nobody'd win. They'd start it over. There's nothing wrong with appreciating women for their beauty and how they enhance it with man-made products like makeup.
right.
Me, I
Oh
say
yeah,
the more makeup, the better.
I wear yeah, like um but honestly, Tom, too, like yes, it's nice to look attractive to other people, but it also helps that if you like the person, if you like to see what you're looking at in the mirror. And when I worked at um a dermatology laser center, um
Oh yeah. Why do you think they're there?
oh yeah, no, people got a lot of different
Damn right. People like me
things.
looking at them. They look better. It makes you look. You want to keep your youth, don't you? You're not
But
going there to
right,
get some
right.
wrinkles
But what
added
I'm
on your
saying
forehead.
but what I'm saying is don't judge
Oh, I
a
fucking judge them all day
picture,
long.
don't judge a book by its front
Oh,
cover,
yes, I
right?
do. I do. The front cover is what you're working the hardest at. Your looks.
Right.
Yeah, the front cover draws them all in. It's like a fishing lure, a fake deer, a carrot in front of something that hasn't eaten in a week. It's just part of like how this whole thing, people like, you don't have to be embarrassed or discount what's really going on here. Like I say, it's rut. It's breeding season for white-tailed deer around here. The
Mhm.
fertile doe isn't looking for the busted off antler and the balls dragging the dust. She's looking for that big full rack and that big cock that's hard around the clock and that
Well,
perfect coat. And he's kicking everybody's ass, running around, stabbing everybody with his horns.
I
It's
think
just the way
right,
it
right.
is.
Okay, right. Well, and just like talking about it, like as far as um, people also want to feel secure, whether that's financially secure, emotionally
Yeah.
secure.
That's what these Hollywood actresses are doing. Now they have this thing where they go on without makeup. I beg them to quit doing that. They don't
But
even recognize them. You know, I
but so
saw Oprah twice without makeup.
okay, Tom,
I still have
the people
nightmares.
okay, let me tell you, the people on TV
Yeah.
have professional makeup artists,
Oh
right?
God. Yeah.
And
I
they
want my.
use top of the line, most of the time
Oh
it's
yeah.
top of the line makeup,
Yeah.
and they have professionals
Oh
do
yeah.
their own
I want my
makeup.
next girlfriend to have one. How much is it?
Expensive.
So what? I mean, you
Yeah,
see
it's
some of these older. I hate to admit this, and now it's kind of getting over the hill. But even like Nancy Pelosi looked a little bit good up until lately.
oh yeah, yeah, like well, even like my grandmother who lived to, she was older.
Yeah.
She always had her hair and makeup done, and she still
Yeah.
looked good
Yeah.
at 70 years old. Like
Yeah.
she's
No,
I
they're
mean,
around.
she was
But
70
they're
and
genetic
you
anomalies.
yeah, like you knew, right? And my other
Look at
grandmother was
Raquel Welch.
Well, my other
Susan
grandma,
Lucci.
yeah, my other grandmother was the same way. She looked good for her age,
You
but
know,
she
and
kept
Tennille, the captain Tennille, I mean, if that's recent, she looks pretty good.
yeah, I mean,
So,
but it takes work and it takes
right,
time, like,
right.
to you gotta really care about your body, your appearance.
Yeah.
It's not easy, it's painful sometimes.
Mhm. But
Um,
if you want this, just you're loving each other for your souls and looks don't matter, just go naked with the makeup then. You don't want to do that, do you?
I mean,
How
you
about you
don't
go out on a first date? Just try not wearing makeup. Why not? And see if your
I'll
souls
do
really
it.
connect.
I'll
Like
do
your
it. And
souls.
if they you know what? This will be a good
Yeah,
test. If
do a like video,
if
YouTube thing.
if you still you know what we could do? We could do like a thing, like, I'll go with no makeup, no hair, no nothing, right? And I'll
Yeah,
go on dates with guys,
yeah,
and then when they like, if they reject me because of, like, if we find
yeah,
out it's because, like, I look like, whatever,
yeah.
and then I'll come up to them, like, all nicely dressed, hair done and makeup done, and see what they still have to say, and I'll be like, "I didn't want you anyways, if that's all you cared
No,
about," you know?
that'd be a great real life experiment. You could do it like on a YouTube thing. Make them sign a thing so you could upload it and they couldn't sue you later. And
The
just
the
go on one date with your thing, your YouTube thing playing, your GoPro,
Yeah.
and then you just show up, your hair a mess, no makeup, sloppy
Well,
clothes, and then
not a
you go on the
mess, but
next
I
one.
mean, like, I'm not gonna put a lot of effort into my looks, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
won't wear
No, it's gonna, yeah. Now this, I can already tell you what the results are gonna be if you want to save some time. It's like sometimes like women get comfortable with men. And once that courting thing is over, they go from buying makeup every week to every other year. It's not the same. I've learned in my life, I don't like seeing women like casual like that. It's terrible of me, I guess.
I mean, if
Let me ask my blow up doll.
well, the thing there's a question to be had there too, and that's, if somebody stops taking care of themselves and you're in a relationship with them, there might be some other issues going on than just they just didn't feel like putting makeup on.
Yeah, I'll tell you the issues. They've been together a long time and they're bored. It happens. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you're going to be able to take some weekend trips and all that kind of bullshit and watch some of these shows and go to the self-help section and get brainwashed for a couple days. But goddamn, in the real world and the real life and what's to what, and even the people that are left that are still married that, talk this bullshit, a lot of them are just unfulfilled. But I just think if somebody just came out and said, hey, you're right, I've been married 10 years, I've been fucked in 3, I hardly wear makeup anymore. We're set. I don't do shit. I fuck around. I buy whatever I want. I get everything shipped to the house on Amazon. And I realize this is as good as it's going to get, and it could be a lot worse. I'd say, yeah, good for you. That's being honest. And there are people, I guess, out there. I can't really tell you any. I mean, really. I mean, 285-year-olds, that doesn't count. It's like anything. You take the top 5%, and you wipe those out. You take the 5 lowest percent. Now we're getting to what really happens. And this is worldwide. If you look at divorce and marriage rates, they're in the shitter.
I
So it
think
isn't
I
just me, it's like millions of people.
The thing is too, right, is in relationships and
Mhm.
whatever, I don't think that, like, I don't think society does a lot of help with two people who are married, right?
Mhm.
So, like, you can't sit here and tell me that, two people, they didn't have friends, didn't have family, didn't even, like, have, like, like, a community,
Mhm.
by any means, to try to help them get through their marriage issues and to try to see, better things and
Mhm.
just change them away. I think that a lot of people, they're just like, oh, just do whatever you want to do and this and that. And like I said, if a relationship is really just that bad, where you're just like,
How about this? I
You know,
order a 19-year-old Thai wife, mail order. And she shows up, I pick her up, and she's gorgeous. Do you think I could be happy?
I can't tell you if you were gonna be, you know what I mean?
Do you think
Like,
she'd be happy?
I can't comment on
Do you think
that.
it's a good idea?
I mean, if there's something strongly pulling you to do
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
there's something
that.
strongly pulling me. That's for sure. You know that.
You're such a
But it isn't what you want to pull me.
I mean, like, everyone has a life to live, you know? Like, I don't wanna put, especially when it comes to relationships, like, I can't sit here and tell, you what's gonna, just like you've said, that you've had instances where Miss America could come to your front door and you'd be like, "I don't even care." You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something more that you're looking for than just looks in general.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're
like
right.
I I I don't know.
No, you're right. I just think it's complicated and that everything seems temporary and that long term is just an illusion.
It's I have, like I said, I have a couple people in my family who've been married forever, right? Well, not, in a legit
Not
sense
your
forever.
close family, you don't.
Yes, in my close family.
Where?
On my mother's side and my dad's side.
Oh, but not people other than them.
That I've known that have been married forever.
No,
My
no.
neighbor, she
You're
was
talking
married.
about their parents or something? Your mother and dad's parents?
No, my aunts and uncles.
Oh, aunts and uncles. Okay. All right. Yeah. All
And
right. That's
then
possible.
like my neighbor, she was married to her husband for 50 years and then he passed away. And I mean, they're not married anymore, but they were together for a very long time.
Yeah, but
But
were they happy?
I never asked her. I never
I mean,
dug into
it could have turned into an endurance test. I'm trying to figure out to get a rational explanation on the possibility of this working long term. Because if it's possible, I want to find out how to do it.
I think what it is
I want to do it.
if you realize if you want to be there for somebody else other than yourself and you like you can look at a person and you just want their best interest and they want your best interest and like
Uh-huh.
so when you have to compromise on things,
Yeah.
yeah, you might be like like this isn't exactly what I wanted to do at this moment, but there's something more to it than just that. And
Hmm.
I think what happens in relationships is somebody feels like they're getting used more than someone feels like they're not getting the good end of the relationship,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
when you have to decide whether if there's a lot of resentment for maybe
Yeah.
things that have been done,
Yeah.
and if there's too much, I mean only you can know that. And where we all like to think that we're forgiving people, like
Mhm.
forgive and forget and whatever
How about
else.
this? How about this? Do you think it's possible for you to just have a platonic relationship with a man and just be good friends and nobody should have anything to worry about?
I do. I
Like,
do think
say
I
if
think
you can't, say
I
if I invited you down here for like a long weekend and it just be platonic, do you think you could explain that away and that your significant other would be cool with it?
yeah, I mean if that's what it is, like I've had um relationships with men and that's exactly what they were just strictly
Yeah,
like
I talked to you about a couple of those, and I guarantee you a couple of those guys would have got in your pants if they'd have had one sliver of light of a possibility of it happening. Especially
I
the
don't
guy you cleaned his house. He's probably still beating off thinking about you. And you just thought he was a nice old guy.
I mean, I don't know. I think that there can be some kind of friendship other than like I still have male friends that I talk to every now and then, and it's literally like, oh, how are the Bills? And I'll tell them, oh, how's your football team? And that's all it
Right.
stays at, you know.
Right. But that's because of you, not because of them. You don't give off the right vibe, which is good. But you're the one that's drawing the line in the sand, not the man. You believe me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, but like I said, I've had male friends, and we didn't get like in any deep conversations. It was literally like, hey, like how's the weather? Like how's your kids? How's your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this is it
Mm-hmm.
just like a female, just like as if, they were a female, except, obviously they don't like
Do you
care.
think if a guy comes on to you, it automatically means that you did something wrong? You gave off the wrong vibe.
I
I've had
hope
girlfriends where guys were hitting on them all the fucking time and getting big arguments, and I had
y-
girlfriends they didn't, and it was all the way they responded. What else could it have been?
you know what, Tom? I've gotten guys and they've, tried to hit on me and this and that, and I gave off no kind of vibe whatsoever. I mean,
Right?
like that could just be.
They're stupid. Then
I
have you
mean,
ever had your friendliness misinterpreted?
yes, and I'll tell you the reason. I
Well, I know what the reason is.
I I worked in a predominantly like male environment. So in
Mm-hmm.
order for me to just keep the peace at work and get my job done and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
like I had to be friendly to men. Like
Yeah,
that
what a
doesn't
nightmare.
mean
No, but really stupid guys, they just don't know any better.
no, most of them did though. Most of them like knew that like, oh, that's Michelle. Like, oh yeah, that's, Jeff or whoever else. Like we like and yeah, I'd say hi to them, because that's just normal workplace
Yeah.
behavior, or I'd ask them, oh, how are the kids? Oh yeah, the kids are, I mean, they tell me they go fishing. I'm like, oh yeah, I went and I go play, bowling or like whatever. They knew I bowled. It wasn't, but it never crossed, any kind of uh, relationship or
Right.
yeah, it never crossed like any kind of. I mean, like you said, I think most guys just kind of know, and then some guys they just got to be like the big guy and just
Right.
they think that
Have you ever been rejected by men?
yes, yes.
Did it bother
hmm
you?
I've been I've been rejected. I've been cheated on. Like I've been on the not so good end of the whole. I know how it feels either way.
Now, with your philosophy now, the way the advice you dole out, and how you think happiness should be defined, if you let's say you were in a new relationship a year from now and the guy cheated, do you know enough now to just get rid of his fucking ass and forget trying to make it work?
I I mean, I would have to approach that. I mean, I can't really say like after being with somebody, like if I was with somebody for a year and they cheated on me, then there's definitely like they really don't give a shit about me or my
Do you
feel.
think you'd be jealous about good-looking women like being super friendly to your significant other?
I would not like I said, if I'm with somebody, then I trust them. So if a a good-looking woman said hi to my person, like that's whatever. I'm with him. Like there's a reason. Like if I don't trust the guy that I'm with, like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be that woman that's like, stay away from my man, this and that. Like I'm not gonna do that because I have trust and I really like him. And
that doesn't do any good, does it?
does what not do any good?
Like, being that way, just stay away from my man, that kind of thing. I think it's probably too late by then, isn't it?
I don't. I mean, if if he wants to go out and do his thing, then go do your thing, but leave me alone.
Yeah.
If you don't like me that much to at least, um, I mean, if they're just being friendly, like if they have like a work, you know what I mean? Like if they're
Yeah.
saying hi to him and like they're
Yeah.
being like whatever, like
Yeah.
that's gonna be life. He's,
Right.
the other person's gonna run into women. They're
Yeah.
gonna have to
Right.
talk to women. I mean, like unless if you lock up your man,
Yeah.
it, what kind of life is that? Like, oh yeah, my man, I don't trust my man to go to the store by himself because he might see a girl that he knew and they might say hi or whatever else. I mean, come on,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like what
You
is
think
that?
like a woman 18 years older than you that was in your shoes at your age could give you beneficial tidbits on the right thing to do?
You know what? Like, I think I don't view anybody's advice as bad. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, I would never um, argue with anybody's older advice. Now, don't get mad at me if I don't take it or if I do, but like I would be open. I'm not that type of person where I think that I just know everything and I'm just because like when I was on a league, a sports league, I had a coach that was basically like, "Do you want me to tell you what you're doing wrong or no?" And I was like, "Yeah, tell me what I'm doing wrong." Well, that helped us out so much that like I became really good at it and like got like a ton of money and awards for it. So you always got to be kind of, you got to be open to suggestions in life,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
You can't be just completely closed off like you just know, because guess what? The thing is too is it's easier for
Yeah.
me to tell you, Tom, what you're doing
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
than for you to actually realize it for
Yeah. I believe
yourself.
that. I believe that.
Just like you with me. Just like it'd be easier for you to be like, Michelle, I know what you're not doing right here,
Yeah. Where
like
do I
this and
start?
this. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Hey,
like,
when you do your chats, do you go on StreamYard?
yeah, yeah, I use StreamYard.
So I'm looking at this thing now because I don't want these fuckers porn bombing me on here. Or you know how you have the buttons like it shows you like comments and you can put a banner like like something like this. You click around on this bullshit like this, and then it shows brand. I don't care about that. But in private chat, if you click on private chat, can you like talk to somebody before you okay them to the live?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not,
never fool with it, and I
yeah, I
don't.
never grasped that whole concept with the back chat.
Yeah, the
Like,
back. Well, I know, like if, like, say we sign off right now, like we can still talk privately. I know you can do it that way, but somebody said there's some way that you can talk to these people. Like, here's a comment. I don't know if this is. Somebody says you can talk to these people uh, without approving them, and I'm just wondering. I just clicked this private chat, but I don't know how that how they get to that first. I'd like to know that because like there was a lady on last night and I canned her and then she came back and then I took a chance on it. She was legit, that lady from New Zealand.
yeah, you know what? Honestly, I was trying to figure that out too the other day with the back chat and the private
Yeah.
chat. And I didn't understand how, if somebody wasn't backstage, I think I was getting messages, but the person wasn't
Yeah. I,
backstage at the time.
I, I think it's in a bad place because someone will say that sometime and you'll get a message and it's like way up in the corner, not far from the big red button of end stream. So it's hard to notice when you're chatting, looking at people. But
Right.
I just wonder how this private chat works, if anybody knows that on StreamYard, because, as long as I could talk to these people ahead of time, I
Hmm.
wouldn't be so paranoid about okaying them to join the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go work out, do my things. I should be last night. I did get a little moon. I turned my cameras on anyway. I never saw it. And I did get a little, not a lot, but it's better than nothing. Last night was a full moon. Tonight's like 96. It'll be good. But there's light clouds which would be good. So it's good. I'll get a good one tonight. I wish it would have happened last night, but I'm going to go do my working out, and I'll probably
He
be on
works
tonight.
out.
Are you going to do a chat tonight?
Yeah, I could do it. I could do a chat tonight if everybody wants
Yeah,
to come on
we
my
could do
channel
one, yeah.
tonight.
See, now
I'm not.
but when I click on comments, I know that, but when I click on private chat, see, like there's nothing. There's nothing when you click on it.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do it.
I
There's
haven't
no way for
mastered.
you to send me I'd like to test it out.
This is
There's no way
here.
you can since you're approved, you're going to come across where everybody can read it. But I'm wondering if I didn't, let me knock you off this, okay?
Okay.
And then see if you can, I'll kick you from the studio and then try and say something, and I'll see if I can
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, okay, good. I kicked you out of there now. So you're not. And I'm wondering, see now comments, if I click on that, it just shows Shane. I'm at Vantage Point, right? And I'm wondering on private chat, if you can, I think maybe I can click on it and then click on private chat without bringing you up. I hope that's what you can do. Because if you can do that, then that'd be a lot better. I mean, not to say that I couldn't get porn bombed, but, oh, you couldn't do it. Oh, really? See, so I don't know how this fucking things work. I'm sure after 2 hours of reading, I could figure it out. I'd rather just not take a chance on it and not approve them if I don't know. But see, now if you click on that link, it doesn't do you any good on the link for StreamYard either, but just on YouTube. You couldn't do it. See, so I don't know what the private chat means. How you do that? You couldn't do it, huh?
No, but I can do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, but not private. See, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter now because if I'm getting porn billing, the horses are already out of the barn. I'm
Who's
trying to do this without it being part of a live stream yet, and I'm not sure how you do that.
So people are porn bombing you once you get
Well, I had
into.
it happen once. I don't want it to happen again because it can really fuck up your channel. I mean, there's certain things that if you get it on there, you're fucked. Even though it was, you can't talk to anybody at YouTube. And once they cancel your channel, you're really fucked. So I'm a little worried about it happening. Although, I'm careful about who I let up. But, like when I got porn bombed the last time, they'll have your profile as their avatar. And then I click on that motherfucker and it's some fucking guy with a 10-inch dick beating off. It's considered porn. It's some kind of GIF or TIFF or whatever they call these fucking things that you can download, and then it's on your shit and you can make it part of your avatar, and then a link. I don't know how they do it. It's all these fucking weirdos that have been blocked from everywhere. Michelle, you're what, 5'10"?
Yeah, about that. 5'9", 5'10". Yep.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to sign off here, so I'll check you out tonight.
All right, everybody.
So thanks for coming on, Shane. Appreciate it. Lakota, Michelle, Callie, Crunch and Munch. I don't know what happened to Crunch and Munch. She says she's not dating anymore. She doesn't want to be hurt. She's probably out shopping for French ticklers on Amazon. She's had it with men. They want to get her feelings hurt.
Aw.
I know it. We'll help her out.
Man.
48. She's not in the used car lot for good.
Mm.
She's still got options. I bet if she still met Mr. Wonderful, she'd go for it. Stephanie too. All right. Well, you have a good day today. You guys have a good day today. It's a nice day here. I think it's 57. Oh, 58. That's not bad. All right, Michelle, have a good day.
Yep, you too, Tom.
Party on.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.